can just say thank you to your parents or thank you to your elders, your grandparents. Just it's a nice way to connect towards before we start the class. So everyone puts the hands together. Om. Om. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Gadeshaya Namah. Jai Shri Sainath. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you. That was so nice, isn't it? It connects instantly. You connect towards the students and towards ourselves with our body and soul. So we're going to start first. So first, I like you all to put the oven towards 230 degrees. And if you got a fan oven, you can put it, I think maybe similar, maybe 200 or 210, something like that. So I'm going to show you what we're going to use first. So I just show you all the ingredients here. So I put all the ingredients ready, chopped, and all the vegetables ready, boiled, which is a key factor, especially when we're doing on online classes. The key is to keep everything ready. So first we're going to start with how we're going to make with the vegetables. So if you all are using ready puffed pastry, please keep it out from the fridge. We only need to keep it outside 10 minutes before we make it. So that's okay. Now we can bring it out. So we are all going to use ready puff pastry. I'm guessing everybody got the same one. So we're going to put it up there. So first thing is first, we're going to mash the vegetables a little bit. So I got all the fresh peas. So if you want to use frozen peas, it's obviously definitely okay. And I got carrots, I got potatoes here. So I'm going to just mash them with the masher. If you have like a mashed potato masher at home, you can do it this way. Or if you want to use your hands, obviously you can use it. You can do it with the hands. The most important thing is they have to boil fully. So try to mash them up as much as you can. I'm guessing you also like, Sonia, having curry puffs?
Yeah.
Which ones are your favorite? Hyderabadi ones, or did you try different curry puffs from different places?
I haven't tried many, but in Bangalore, I like Bangalore.
All right, wow. I think they will be similar anyway from Bangalore to Hyderabad. So just mash them up. If you think they're a bit more lumpy, just use your hands. Bit more authentic to do with your hands. Obviously, wash your hands first before starting to do any of these things. I always try to use my hands in a lot of things because we always say when you use our hands, we will connect nicely. So try to use your hands, just mash it up, all the vegetables as much as you can, because while we're cooking, they will be mashing again anyway with the heat. So that will be okay. So wash your hands thoroughly. And wipe them with the towel. And then right now we're going to move on to our thing. So we're going to lit the gas on now. So safety comes first in all my cooking classes, especially the one learning how to cook. The most important thing is to get the safety things right from the start. So I'm going to use the back of the stove, which is the safety way. If something spills, it won't be spilling on you, it will be spilling onto the gas or something like that. So always when you're lighting the gas on, try to see the flame first and then put the pan on. That way it's the safest way, because you know it lit up. Sometimes we make mistakes thinking, oh, the gas is on, but we don't check, which is not nice, isn't it? So always check the gas is on. So I'm going to put it onto the medium flame. Always go from the low towards medium. So I'm just going to put it onto the slightly medium flame, not too high, not too low. So now I can see the flame. Then only I'm going to put the pan. So roughly take medium size pan, that should be okay. So next, I'm going to use olive oil here. I got 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Of course, you can use sunflower oil, you can use rapeseed oil, whichever oil you prefer to cook at home. So I'm going to add it now. So the best thing is when you're cooking, it's better whatever dishes we use, put them straight into the sink. So that way it's not messy, it's easy to wash. So we just checking the nice heat for the oil now. So once the oil is slightly warm, we don't want it to be too hot or too cold. So I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of cumin, which we may say jeera. So I'm going to put the cumin in now. The reason lot of Indian foods we use cumin controls blood sugar, may helps lower cholesterol. Cumin contains antioxidant. Cumin is used as an alternate for a lot of dishes in different things also. So I'm just going to put 1 teaspoon of cumin. In goes. So we just slightly frying the cumin. All we doing is we slightly frying the cumin, so it releases the main, like a slightly aroma you can smell. Once the cumin is in, we're going to add 1 thinly chopped white onion. Of course, you can use any onion. So we're just going to put 1 onion in here, 1 chopped onion. So mix it up. So what we're looking here is we only want onions to slightly cook. We are not going to brown them. We are just want to cook. So that way the raw smell or raw taste going to come out of the onions. So always try to just cook the onions to keep the main healthy things onto the onions. So keep it that way, no need to brown them. Slightly cooking them. How you know is when we put the onion in, they will be like a whitish color. So slowly when you know they are cooking, they will be like a lightly creamish color. That's when we know the onion is cooked or ready to cook. So we are still keeping the flame onto the medium. So next, when they are a little bit brownish, we're going to add the curry leaves, the heart of the South Indian ingredient. So curry leaves, whenever you add curry leaves into the dishes, try to tear them to release the aroma. And of course, whenever you do this, you have to, wow, the smell is amazing. So we just mixing them. The most important thing while we're cooking is you have to give the importance to each ingredients. I know a lot of people say it's better to put everything in there and then mix it up. I always say you have to give the importance to the each ingredient. That way we know what the health benefits we are adding them in. And also it's good for us to know what's went into our dish while we're making them. So we are just slightly frying them. So the reason we add curry leaves in lot of South Indian dishes, curry leaves has a rich source of vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin B12, calcium. It gives like a pungent taste. So that's the reason we add curry leaves in lot of South Indian dishes and lot of dishes. Next, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of freshly blended ginger garlic paste. We all know ginger is very healthy. Ginger is good for heart, good for digestion. Garlic is good for heart, and garlic got lot of anti things in the garlic. So antioxidant in the garlic. So add 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste. Of course, if someone don't like some of the ingredients, they are optional. You don't have to add them. So we're just mixing it for the raw smell to go from the garlic ginger paste. So the ginger is a good for digestion, adds good quantity. Especially if you are having meat, it's better to have a lot of ginger. It's good for digestion. So next, I'm going to put some ingredients here, spices. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of chili powder. Of course, chili powder, if your family don't like a lot of chili, please reduce them towards half a teaspoon. Or if your family likes them, put them towards the 1 teaspoon. And then turmeric, like a half a teaspoon. Don't put too much turmeric, it will become like a bittery taste. And 1 teaspoon of coriander powder. If you can make them freshly at home, please do so. 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. So all goes in. If you think they are becoming brown quickly, the onions, you can lower the flame, please. That way you can control it nicely. Wow, you can see the colors now. That's why I always mention cooking is the art skill, because when you do the drawing, you will see all the colors comes into a one piece when we're adding different colors. It's the same with cooking. When we adding different spices, in the end of it, it will become like a wow dish. So it's the art. Cooking is the art. Everybody should learn. It's the most important thing is to learn cooking, how to make cooking. And also it's like a therapy. Cooking is a therapy to calming it down. So a lot of people add turmeric. Is the superfood on everyone's lip. But what's the real benefits of turmeric? I don't think a lot of people know. Turmeric is inflammation, diabetic, immunity, arthritis, depression, pain relief, itching, digestion. All this turmeric also very good for the cholesterol and allergics. So they got lot of power towards the turmeric. So that's the reason we use turmeric in lots of dishes. So now when we know the spices are slightly cooked, this is the time we're going to put the vegetables that we mashed. Potato, peas, and carrots. I always prefer to use fresh vegetables. Please, if you can get fresh peas, try to use the fresh peas. Obviously, if you don't get them, you can use frozen. But try to use fresh ingredients as much as you can in your daily cooking if it's possible. So now the way you add into the onions, you just start mashing them again towards the pan slightly, especially the potatoes if they are not mashed fully. It's a simple recipe and very yummy, tasty recipe. So the thing is, if you don't want to use a lot of this potato in the puffs straight away, of course, you can keep them in the fridge. And then whenever you want to, you can make curry puffs nice there and then nicely, freshly. So you don't have to use all of it in one go. So there we go. Looks very colorful. Already you can tell lot of goodness goes into that one, and it's very healthy to have. Now it's the time to mix it. So slowly mix it. Because the vegetables are nicely cooked, you can put the gas a bit lower to control the flame. So there are some options if you want to add like a tomato puree in this one. Of course, you can add tomato puree. But whenever, if I use tomato puree, I always recommend to use the organic one, which don't have a lot of sugar and different kinds of things that we don't need to. So try and use the best if you are adding, but I don't put any tomato puree in now, but there is an option if you want to. You can of course put tomato puree to make it into a nice colorful tomato taste. That's it. There we are. So just mix all together so it will all nice and yummy. So now all we need to add is fresh coriander that I already chopped nice and thinly. Add it on top. Look at that, how colorful it looks. So lower the flame, please, definitely. And mix again when we added coriander. So that's it. How simple is that? And also, you know, there's a lot of goodness gone in there. So it's so healthy. If you want to, you can taste before you put them into the puffs. But I'm going to offer to the God first. That's why I'm not going to taste it. So I'm going to bring a small bowl to offer to the God. So I'm always keep one bowl onto the side to give to the God. And now I'm going to offer with all of our names. I'm going to switch off the gas. So there we go. We're going to offer to the God. Om Namah Shivaya. So next, you can see we put from our race 24, we offered to the God also nicely. So
5 minutes left, Andy. Thank you.
All right. That was very quick. So once we have done that. We're going to switch off the flame. We're just going to put it in a bowl, switch it off. And we're going to, so what I can do is I can continue the puffs. So I got the oven tray here. With the greaseproof paper that I'm going to put the puffs in there. So switch off the gas so the stuffing is ready. So there we go. I got, if you want, you can do the nice cutter, and I got some water and milk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with the puffs. And once you are ready with the puffs, we're going to put it in the oven. Just needs like a 15 to 20 minutes time. They will be ready. When you're putting it in the oven, you just put them, so nice puff, ready rolled puff. We are so lucky to have ready puffed available, so we don't have to make any dough in here, so that takes more time. So I'll quickly show you one of them, how to put them in the oven. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut them slightly, pieces like this. I'm quickly going to show you one of them because we're running out of the time. So all you do is take one nicely like that, and then take one more, keep it ready. So all we're going to do is we're going to put tiny spoon of stuffing in there, just slightly. So when it's slightly cool, we can use it. We don't need to cool completely the potato, all those things. So you just put tiny bit of in the middle. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to close it like this. And then we're going to put some water onto the sides. Onto the sides, so it becomes like this. And then if you want to use any cutter, anything that you use usually, so take the sharp side of the cutter and just put it in the middle like that. Push it nicely, so you should get a nice shape.
Me, Nanti, I'm just conscious that there are only 2 minutes left.
All right, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them and then put like a pictures or something once they are ready. Maybe that's the best way to do it. So once you got a heart shape like this, you just put like a lines on top and put some milk. I just put some milk on the top like that. You just saw it. And then what you're going to do is you just take a chopstick and then you just put a lines on top, and that's ready to bake. So you do so many like this. So I'm just going to put it quickly onto the tray. I'm just going to show you, okay? Like that, something like that. You can see it. So, and then we're just going to press onto the side. And then that's how you make nice curry puffs. So what I'm going to do, Sonia, is I'm going to carry out making them. And then once they are ready, oven, like a 15 to 20 minutes, maybe until they will become nice goldenish color, slightly goldenish color, and then remove them. And then please put comments on and please add some pictures when they are ready. So what I'm going to do is once they are ready, I'm going to put them, the pictures, everything, once they bake and nicely comes out. So hopefully everybody followed the recipe. It is easy, but it will take some time. So I can see Hema's son is trying to make them. So it's simply you just push it onto the side with the water, and then you just put some milk on top, and then you make whatever shapes you wish to, and then put them in the oven like 15 to 20 minutes, and then they should come out yummy. So, hope.
Well, I think we're running out of time here, but I just want to say thank you so much, Meena Auntie, for sharing that wonderful recipe. It looks delicious. I'm sure it will turn out great, and I hope all of you have also made it, and I'm sure that it will turn out amazing. Now, I think we're going to have to hand it over to the next presentation now. I think hand it over to Dia.
Yeah, thank you, Sonia. Thanks for taking your time and doing my anchor. You are brilliant. You are doing so well. So keep it up. You will come up in future. Hopefully, I will see you in future. So thank you so much, Hema Garu and the team. It was so pleasure to seeing you all. I will be watching all your videos today. So once the puffs are finished, I will put the pictures, everything, and then I will also write slide description how we made it. So hope you all enjoyed with my health benefits, everything. So thank you for inviting me. Please carry on making puffs. They will take some time, but I'm glad I'm here. Thank you, Hema Garu. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Auntie.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you.
I'll hand it over to the next segment now.
Dia, are you there, please? Dia.
I'm here. Hi. Hi, everyone. So my name is Dia. I'm in year 12, and I'm going to be comparing the next section of today's program. But before I do, I'd just like to thank the RISE Foundation for having me, and also for taking this initiative to educate everyone through the activities and all the talks today. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our next talker. So I'm going to welcome Meeta, who is going to demonstrate how to make Diwali candle holders. So if you have a passion for arts and crafts, or you just need something colorful to decorate your house during Diwali, you should definitely keep watching. Meeta, I'm going to talk a bit about your background. Meeta is based in London, and she's been crafting for 15 years now. She goes by Mira Arts online, and she holds classes where many can learn how to make beautiful crafts. So without further ado, I'll hand over the session to Meeta.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for giving me this chance to show my craft. We are going to do the Diwali candle light holders. So for that, we need this kind of tumbler glass, anything. If you can have the waste bottle, you can use any waste bottle or anything, whatever is convenient for you. But for now, I'm going to use this glass and just the packing string. Yeah, just basic material what we have at home, and we are going to use that, like you can say waste out of best. Yeah, we are going to use this earbuds what we have at home, and some acrylic colors. Yeah, so we will start doing that. So with this string, we are going to just wrap it on the side of the glass. You can do it full glass, or you can do it half glass. So I'm going to use it for just half cup. Like I'm going to cover this one, half cup of with this string. So I'll put the glue first, and I'll start from the bottom. Is it everyone okay to see that? Yeah.
Yes, Meeta.
Okay. I'll cover all the side of this tumbler glass. See, I have covered with the glue, and now I'm going to use this string. So we need to take it like next to each other. What else you can do it? You can dip the string in the completely in the glue, and you can stick it as well. So you'll get the nice effect as well of glue as a texture. But I'm not using it like that. So in the beginning, it will be a little bit hard to, wrap it, but you will be fine once you get the grip.
So Mitaji, when the glue dries, will it be clear?
Yeah, it will be clear glue.
Okay.
Because like most of the craft glue are white, like clear glue. So you can use like PVA glue, wood glue, they all will be clear.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes you know, like you can get the hard glue as well. It's coming like in yellow pack. That one is glue. That glue is good as well to, you know, use it. And that one is a little bit quicker than this one. So what I will do, I will put the glue again on top little bit. If you don't have this kind of string, you can use the wool if you have it at home, you know. Colorful will, we can use it, so it will be more colorful. You can cover more part. I have just covered this much. You can cover more if you have time. You can cover it. At the end, I'll put a little bit more glue and, you know, stick it. I just wrap it randomly, not like, you know, in the like next to each other, but give a little bit of gap as well. See? Then if you have wipes or anything, you can wipe it down there. And now what we are going to, I have like waste cardboard. I'm going to cut the little, very little circle on from that. I do not need more, just a little circle. For the base, for the flower. See, just little, very little we need it. Just for the support. See? Now what we are going to do, we have these earbuds. Yeah. So with these earbuds, I'll cut the top bit only. We need it. So I'll cut it like this. See, left little bit of this stick part and this cotton part. Yeah. So we'll take little few of them like that. So what I will do, I'll put the glue on the cardboard. And arrange this one according to our cardboard, like. Yeah. You can directly stick it on the cup as well, but see, you can do it like all the way around and make it flower.
So Mita, may I ask, did you come up with this craft by yourself? Because it's very fascinating how you're doing this. Like I wouldn't have like thought of this ever.
Yeah, actually, I like to do like, gifts for the Diwali, for the, for the friends and family. So this year I was thinking to give these ones, like making some candle holders and give it to them.
Oh, okay. That's really nice. Yeah, that's great.
It's like it's like a cheaper gift, handmade as well, and people will like it as well when you put the effort for them. So I need just half of the flower like this. Yeah, I'm just covering this much. I'm not going to do full flower. Then I have this kind of sequence. If you have it, you can use it. If you have like mirror or something, you can use it. Or if you have like CD, old CD, you can cut the CD and you can take that silver part and you can use it as a mirror. You need to let it dry for a little bit. So what I will do, I'll mix few of these like flowers, this kind of flowers, yeah, in a half circle, and I'll put it like 3 or 4 around the glass like this. And if you want to keep it white, you can keep it white, or you can paint this one, this string, and you can keep this one white. And if we keep string like white, so we can color the flowers. But what I did, I put the pink sequence here, so I'll keep the white flower, yeah, and I'll do the color on this string. So I'm going to use the golden color I have. I'm going to use that golden color on the string, and then I'll use this flower on top. I'll stick it here. Yeah. Or you can, what you do, like all these birds, before you stick on the cardboard, you can color them, you can paint them, you just dip it on the color, and you can stick it afterwards on the cardboard. So any acrylic color, you use it, your choice colors, it's not like golden, you have other colors, you can use it. So now it's almost dry. So what I will do, color the string. And sometimes kids like to do fun. So what we can do, we can use just a finger, and like you can do it like just the light texture. It's very easy. You can use the wipes or anything, and let them do. Because we are making it for a festival, so that's why I use the golden color.
Yep, and I'm guessing, Mitaji, you can also use many different colors for
Yeah,
one.
you can use whatever color you like. It's like not particularly golden or silver, or it's just because of I'm using it for the festival. That's why I just took the golden.
Yeah.
If you have like waste pasta sauce bottles and any bottles, you can use it.
So really, it's a good way for recycling.
Yeah.
Old containers.
I found it like a fun, so I'm always using like, easy way.
Yeah.
And kids like to do it as well. Like they do the messy play in the school. See? Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to let you know that I think we have just 5 minutes left. So
Yeah, that's fine. We are nearly done. I'm just giving you ideas, so it will be,
yeah. And will you have enough time to show the finished product? I think so. I mean, it looks nearly done.
Yeah.
It's starting to take shape.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's looking very good.
you can make more of these, and stick it around it. I'll make it and I'll post the picture, you know.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, it's already looking wonderful.
I hope you will like it.
Looking very pretty, Mita.
It's easy way, so you know you can make it at home, and yeah.
No, that was great. Thank you so much. It looks really beautiful.
Thank you for giving me this chance to sew.
No worries. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
everyone had a lot of fun making it. So thank you for leading that session. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll hand on the talk to the next presenter then. Yes, thank you again, Mita Ji, for coming. Yeah, bye everyone from me as well.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Dia, and thank you, Mita. Let's hand over to Shiva, the next anchor. Shiva.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. I'm Siva, and I'd like to thank Rise Foundation for giving me this opportunity to moderate the session firstly. So this next talk is presented by Varsha Ladd, who is a tarot card reader based in Leicester. She's going to talk about tarot cards and how she's able to guide people through their lives. People like me may not know much about tarot cards, so I'm sure for this talk. Personally, I was incredibly fascinated by this topic and ended up checking out their web pages. And I've seen countless reviews praising Varsha on her great work and how impressed they were. So we're very lucky to have her today. I'd love to hand over to Varsha and find out the topic.
Greetings to all the listeners. Tonight I'm going to talk about my tarot experience. I'm going to give you brief encounters of how I got into tarot reading by giving you a little subheading and then a paragraph. So within the timescale I've got today, I will give you snippets of how I got into tarot reading and why am I 15 years later still doing tarot reading. First of all, I want to try and share a slide with you. Bear with me. The next one. Okay, can you see the slide where it's got the red Indian on there?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. Bear with me, I'm just new to this. Right, so the red Indian is my spirit guide, one of my spirit guides. Right below it are my tarot cards. I have more than one deck of tarot cards. In this straw basket, I keep all my tarot cards, notepads, books, everything in this box as a sacred box. Sacred box, and it's a safe box. Just in terms of like storing energy. Here you can see an image of my advert. It's got my full name and me as an international reader with my mobile details and email address. The picture in the background is a snapshot from a tarot card called the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is someone who is of glory, of spirits, joy, happiness. And my messages and my work is based around that. So now I'm going to talk about, can you put it back to the, bear with me, sorry. Can you see me there or?
Yeah, we can see the PowerPoint, but it's not on slideshow.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back to, look there. Sorry, bear with me. Brilliant. Right, so like I said, I've got several paragraphs. I'm going to give you a snapshot by first of all going on explaining the subheading, with a short paragraph, and hopefully it will give you an all-rounder picture about me as a tarot reader and helping people. So the first side heading I've got here is a road to discovery to tarot reading. My first ever experience of tarot reading was about 30 years ago. I visited a tarot reader just out of sheer curiosity, which came from my friend's recommendation. My inquisitive mind wanted to experience and discover this mystical side of life. The lady reader told me things about myself and turned out to be true. She told me I passed my degree before receiving my results. This type of information gave me some sense of hope that there is something far greater out there than the human eye can see. Another encounter, which I call it as a mind blown away experience. Over the course of the best 40 years of my life, I have been to several tarot readers. In that time, I realized there were only a handful of readers who were absolutely spot on for me with their predictions. The feeling of receiving the right type of guidance helped me to overcome many hurdles. Whenever I found myself at a crossroad, a reading put my mind at ease and my feelings of anxiousness less. As the reader, who is also a seer, a person who can see into the future, reassured me of forthcoming events. For example, I was told that my relocation will happen, moving from the South to the Midlands. When the time came to it, the truth prevailed itself. My wish came true, and to move to the Midlands. Whereas before that time, I could not envisage my move. The next little paragraph I've got here is about my background, upbringing, spiritual way of life, marrying up the tarot experience and collaborating with spiritual background, where my parents helped me to practice meditation, believe in God, higher source, making charitable contribution, and to assist people wherever it was needed. Often talked about subject area of conversation and shared experiences on such various topics, such as the giving and taking exchange, recognizing our own inner energy, the life force, the healing methods, breathing techniques, and Reiki. The topic of spirituality is a minefield and a never-ending journey. Knowing that there is so much to learn, this keeps my mind stimulated, thirsty and hungry to keep on learning and experiencing life offerings. This feeling is the same journey for me, and my card reads: I seized the opportunity from my experience. I seized the opportunity on the occasion when I had readings. The one thing that really stood out for me was when they would tell me that I had a gift to help and guide people through tarot cards. A beautiful lady called Dodie Hamilton, who has switched to writing books from 40 plus years experience as a card reader, enticed me to become a card reader. Deep down within myself, I always knew I wanted to be within a caring role. I had the passion and drive and the right energy, but never quite knew how to go about the whole aspect of helping people. As soon as Dodie mentioned to me becoming a card reader, I felt like a light bulb within me lit up. My self-determination and discipline, I believe on a personal level, I believe the tarot cards are a self-taught mechanism. The discipline, determination, the motivation, and the learning behind it all makes the tarot reader a true one. The more time dedicated to the tarot cards, plus having the drive, energy, and passion to learn and to keep the journey towards self-development, then eventually the connection between the cards and the reader creates a bond such that the client's spread of cards become alive in the reader's head. To date, I have been an active tarot card reader for the last 15 years. My role as a light worker involves me being there for my client during their most difficult times. I feel very blessed to be given the opportunity to be in a strong position to counsel, guide, and to pass on my spiritual teachings onto my clients. The basic teachings are based around the concept of living a harmonious life. When the inner energy is concerned, I take the time to show my clients on how to remain grounded and also share with them great techniques on how to protect their own energy. The gift of reading cards and listening to my guides' messages is translated into words, drawings, sayings, or riddles. The translation gives clarity behind the client's troubled times. No one read is the same and no read is done in a parrot fashion manner. Each read has its own unique message. It is wonderful to see my regular client take my guidance on board, as now I am seeing them flourish into wonderful souls on this earth. To receive the first of cards as a gift, Dodie Hamilton is the lady who introduced me to tarot cards. A month after meeting Dodie, I had a dream she had gifted me a set of cards. My dream came true. She gifted me a set of angel oracle cards. The saying goes, it is far better to receive them as a gift from someone who loves you, as this will attract good karma because it is rooted in love. If you want to know more about my services, you can visit my Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I have most of my client reviews on yale.com UK, which is an advertising platform. I offer face-to-face reading for the local people and virtual readings for overseas clients. My client satisfaction. I have my regular clients who enjoy coming back for a reading as they themselves have discovered that a reading is not just about full cost of their events. My work is much more involved. It is working progress in helping and guiding my clients on how to maintain a healthy mind and heart. From another angle, you could say my work is like a well-being role, as clients do feel a sense of healing from my reading. The investment in time. The relationship built over time between my client and myself is a special one. It is one of openness to talk freely about feelings and mind matters. Also look at ways in resting with the past matters. More emphasis placed on living in the here and now. The tools I have to hand. Tools to hand. During difficult moments, I write down a prayer to recite, which is a coping mechanism, and another form of getting rid of bad thoughts and feelings. Affirmations are another good way to reinforce good energy and removing bad habits and feelings. In times of guilt and hurt feelings, I bring to the table the angel card of forgiveness. All these different types of methods have been used and practiced by my clients. It has proven to work. We then move on to creating healthy boundaries and focusing on all efforts in moving forward in leaps and bounds in some sort of direction. Life journey. When we have toothache, we visit the dentist. When we have health issues, we see a doctor. When we want to talk about our life journey, we don't really have a referral point to go to. This is where my work comes into play, a helping hand in steering them to their destination. On the way, if any roadblocks come in the way, then we look at how to best deal with this situation. Another paragraph I want to talk about briefly is the evolve in life. Seeing my clients grow from strength to strength is a mission complete for me. When we create a magnificent bond, that is the relationship between me and my client. We end up creating that unconditional love, kindness, and respect for one another. This huge connection and bond we create impacts us in a way which helps us to see life in a better light. The feel-good factor kicks into place and makes it easier to walk on this earth. I follow a set of rituals, and I also use an icebreaker to win a client's trust. Before I begin my read, I ground myself, stay rooted and protected. Then imagine the whole room is filled with a lot of love and light. Before I start the read, I draw an Om symbol on the notepad at the top of the page. After all, it is not me who is working alone to deliver the message. It is the higher source above. I rely on to give me the information. The message can be given to me in several ways. A whisper in my ear, see visual around my third eye. Sometimes I get a feeling or a sensation. To carry out the reads, I only need my client's first name, no date of birth or surname required. I then draw 5 boxes in a cross symbol position. Then I tap into the deck of tarot cards and use my client's name. Once the cards are blindly picked out, 5 cards are placed in position. Then I start to write away the necessary information on the related cards. This is my preparation stage, done before the client's arrival. I open the read up by informing the client what the cards have shown me. At this stage, this is a very good icebreaker. I win clients' faith in my ability to deliver an excellent read. I want to briefly now talk about the inner energy and inner world. When a safe space is created between me and the client will gradually feel confident to share with me their true inner deep feelings. At this stage, we work together on their core feelings with great openness, as there is no holding back at any given time. This is the stage we allow self-healing to begin. Over time, we work towards a plan and look forward to life rather than live in the past. We touch on what their inner world desires are, alongside use my cards to see if there are any possibilities for this desire to materialize, or if I see the door opening. When we work with the inner world, that is our own individual's thoughts, the true desired dreams show up. In order for the outcome to be produced, a lot of patience is required and trust. Through my method, my client has shown some level of maturity in their mind and feelings. This is the adulthood world. They gracefully become strong rather than afraid, and they learn to understand what is within their own reach and get to know how to achieve a goal when they put their mind to it. I want to leave you with a few bullet points to take away today. Remember this, never to feel you are alone in this life. Take the dullness out of life and replace it with glory. Surprise yourself and live a fulfilled life. Get yourself out of boredom situations. Act upon your dreams and wishes. Get in touch with your core feelings. Work with your spiritual self. Not to be fooled by handcuffing yourself to this physical world. Go and explore, attempting reaching great heights. Be happy, bring laughter and joy into your life. Back to the slide.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Marsha.
Thank you. I just want to finish off with a couple of more slides.
Perfect, yeah.
I just want to show you the type of, right, if you look at this like a collage, I put here, if you don't, can you all see the images?
Yes, we can, yeah.
These are the type of snapshots I put on my Facebook, Instagram, any other social media. It's because I get inquiries asking me, what do I do? What do I offer? Some people, if they've got a heavy head, a heavy heart, sometimes they can't register what I'm offering. So I send these snapshots out there into the world to give people some scope on what my work's all about. So I could read them out, or does people want to just have a quick look? How do you feel?
Yeah, you can read them out if you want. Sure, yeah.
So the first one says, my soul journey is to help like-minded people to be on their soul journey. A tarot reading gives clarity to the mind. I read into my client's energy and their vibes. All my messages are passed on to my client in a note format for their own safekeep. My biggest work is also on helping clients overcome their fear, which blocks them in their life and their growth. I am all for helping, supporting, creating a great mind. Fear and anxiety can keep us within our comfort zone, work towards a healthier mindset. Fear and anxiety impacts mental health. Fear is the greatest blockage. So this is my type of work, what I tend to cover in my everyday life as a card reader. Now, can you see this beautiful, white, shiny, bold, strong heart? This is the image I want to leave you with to show you that everyday life, wake up, go to sleep, thinking of a shiny, bold, solid heart. This is my way of saying that's how a heart should look, really strong, with a lot of light, a lot of toughness, and and go with life with a big heart. That is my way in progressing forward in life. And a big heart means a lot to me, and this helps me with my confidence and helps me to carry on with my work, what I do today. I'd like to invite people now for any questions if they would like to ask me any.
Yes, yeah. Anyone that's watching, please feel free to share questions in the chat. I have a few questions of my own, if you don't mind, Aparsha, while we wait.
I'll try my very best to answer.
Yes. So I'm sure sometimes your clients can come with you with some sad stories, or they're dealing with difficult times in their life. How do you deal with this? Like, surely, does it have an effect on you? And how do you deal with that kind of scenario?
Okay. So that is my work, where people come to me where they feel like they've got no one else to turn to. So that's one thing. So I'm expecting, and when I look at the cards and I prep the cards, I know exactly why they're coming. So I prepare myself. I protect myself. There are some techniques in place where I can protect my energy, and at the same time, I can help them. With having a sympathetic ear, being compassionate, reassuring them that I'm here for them, it is a great relief. I've had many people who say to me, I feel the weight off my shoulders. So people who are at lower ground, not the best state in mind, it is the most type of people I get coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think that was perfect. Yeah. Balaji Vardhan has asked that tarot reading, he finds that his mood affects the reading, and he gets a negative reading if he's low in mood. Is it true, is what he's asking.
Do you feel, say that question again, is it?
So, I find my mood affects the reading, and I get a negative, if I get negative reading if I'm low in mood. Is it true?
It's like, say let's take it away from tarot card. Say if you're in a company with someone who is negative and you have negative conversation, then if you're not grounded, if you're not in great high spirits, then that's going to reflect on you mirroring that person's mood. So that's the same with the card reader. If I go with real great mood, real positivity, which I get from my clients, that they said they feel a weight off their shoulders, they feel the positivity from me, then that's what they're going to get. So it just depends what type of card reader you're dealing with. And it is in my interest to lift that person's mood, to lift their morale. And if that person is not in a good place and they get not a great read, well, you have to use rationale behind it. Sometimes telling someone the truth, it hurts. So it's about weighing everything up and understanding why that person is in a low mood. Is it because they're not in a good place? Is it because the reader is not in a good place and couldn't really pick up what they want? It can be a number of reasons, and it can reflect on your mood.
Thank you. I have another question, if that's okay.
Go on.
So you explained about the prep work that you do before your readings, and I know that you work in the NHS. I'm sure you have a very busy lifestyle. How long does the prep work take, and is it hard for you to do that before, or?
Okay, so I have, in a deck, there's 78 cards.
Okay.
I have 5 decks. So
Oh, wow.
I go on a big table, I open the cards up. Some prepping is quick, some clients prepping takes longer. So if it takes longer, that means I'm going to have to use more than one deck. By using more than one deck, it's actually telling me this is not a straightforward situation. By using more than one deck, it's actually giving me further insight to that person's issue. And it also helps me to then work out how I can help them. So no one prep read is like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Some can be 5 minutes and instantly my brain's ticking away and I know exactly what I need to cover. Other times can take me 20 minutes, half an hour. I never rush to my prepping because that groundwork that needs to be done helps me to pitch on how I need to pitch the reading. So the reading becomes very polished, very driven, very to the point of where we need to get to. So it varies.
Thank you. I have one final question.
Okay.
You briefly showed us your phone number and you talked about the Instagram stories and the messages you post. Is there any way we can interact with that? We can have a look at your Instagram or any other social media sites you use?
Yes. So what I tend to tell people is you can Google by putting on Google, put in Varsha Tarot Reader, 9 out of 10, my Instagram page shows up, Facebook page shows up, Yale.com page shows up. So that's an easier way to get through to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to present. I'm sure everyone really enjoyed your talk. Thanks.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Rise Foundation UK for giving me this opportunity, and please go ahead and donate. All the proceeds will go towards a charitable cause. Thank you. Without any further ado, I would like to pass on to the next moderator, who I think is Rick, and I'm sure we have a very interesting talk ahead of us. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to introduce everyone to Daniel, who I'm sure a lot of you know.
Okay.
Should I carry on? I guess I'll carry on. So
yes, please carry on. We can all hear you, Rick. Thank you very much. Please carry on.
Okay. Here's a quick intro. He's been my best friend for quite a long time, since year 6. So I'd like to say I'd know him very well. although he seems quite relaxed at school, I'd say he's a hardworking and smart guy who's quite passionate about what he does, which is economics and loving his current affairs. I always go to him for the news, and he seems to know everything at the time. He's always been interested in making these sorts of videos, and in year 7 he was always making YouTube videos as well. But at first I thought it was just messing around, so I was quite skeptical when he first started making these TikTok videos, but I was quite surprised when I realized how successful he was doing. And yeah, he's now, I think, around over 100,000 followers on his TikTok account, and he's got videos with millions of views. So he's clearly doing very well. He's also doing well on the academic side of things. I think he's already achieved a star in maths, which is pretty impressive, I'd say. And yeah, I'd say overall he's quite an interesting person to get to know. And I'm sure he's looking forward to talk to everyone about his passion and his experiences, I guess. So yeah, over to you, Daniel.
Thank you, Rick, for that introduction. Let me just share my screen. Can everyone see the screen? Yeah, okay, all right. So can everyone see? Is that okay? I'm guessing so. All right, okay. So today I'm going to be talking about social media. As Aravind said in his talk earlier on, obviously there are disadvantages about social media, and especially the addicting side of it. But I think I would switch up a little bit, talk about my perspective of it and how I've been able to get 15 million views, nearly 2 million likes, and over 100,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram platforms. So I think what I'll talk about is basically during the pandemic, I noticed that there was a lack of financial education amongst teenagers and young adults. And I saw there was a popularity in short form content. And this inspired me to kind of just create videos around financial education and economic topics, and then just upload them onto social media. And surprisingly, it did well. I now have over 100,000 followers, and some videos have gained millions of views. My content has kind of changed a little bit. So I started off with more how to make money or how to get free video, free stuff on Costa Coffee or Starbucks, how to get free food or drinks from there. Then I was like, okay, I want to change it up a little bit. So I went to basic financial education on taxes, in national insurance and things like that. And now I'm more going deeper as I've studied AS level economics and doing economics at A level. I've decided to make videos a bit more about that, but still keep in the finance industry. So on this page here, you can see that this is what it was at the start. I had 300 followers. So as you can see, I made videos about how to get free stuff. And then this is just the timeline of it does take a lot of hard work and consistency to get to a level like I did. And obviously I want to keep going and making videos and continue to educate young adults and teenagers. So this is my most latest profile, and yeah. Right now I've got a video to show of I went to the Bank of England Museum recently, and I did a quick video explaining what the Bank of England does and how it all works. So let me hope it works. Can you guys see that? Rick, can you see it?
I think that the PowerPoint's gone. I can just see your face.
Wait, let me get it back up again. Sorry. No, I'll try like this then.
Is there meant to be any sound?
Wait, is there no sound?
No, I don't think we can hear anything.
Oh, I don't know if I can get the sound up. Is there no sound? Let me try again. Sorry about that, guys. Wait, share some. Oh, okay. No, I think I got it. Okay, I think I got it. Right, sorry about that. Let me try. Wait, no, wrong thing. Right, yeah, now it'll work.
Today I'm here at the Bank of England, but what exactly does it do?
So the Bank of England is the United Kingdom's central bank. The Bank of England oversees monetary policy, issues currencies and regulates the banks and financial systems. The primary goal of its monetary policy is stable inflation defined by the government. They do this by changing the interest rate in the UK. The inflation rate in the UK is currently 9%, which is far off the inflation target. Comment if you think the Bank of England are doing a good job at keeping inflation low, and make sure to follow for more.
All right, so yeah, that was a video I did about the bank and basically exactly what it does, and using some of my AS level economics knowledge and trying to educate people about that. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about TikTok shopping and an opportunity I was fortunately able to take. So live stream shopping is actually quite a big thing, I think, in Southeast Asian countries, and they've been trying to move it into the States and UK and other European countries. So it's where influencers connect with suppliers and companies to try and sell their products live on social media. Right now in China, I think it's about to rake in $500 billion, and in the States, it'll be about 20 billion. This is according to Forbes. And so in January, I was invited to TikTok Studio in London to take part in UK's TikTok shopping project. I did two 2-hour live streams selling a variety of products, including air fryers, Nintendo Switches, Anchor products, and vacuum cleaners, and just promoting these products and giving like a brief description of how these products can be useful to people's everyday lives. And I've got a quick video now, again, I'm hoping the sound works, about me promoting a Razer mouse. If any of you are gamers out there, you probably do know about this mouse, but yeah.
Obviously the scroller,
Oh, sorry.
obviously the scroller, the 2 clicks here, and then 2 buttons here and 2 buttons here. So this is really good for those of you who like multifunctional using, so for work and gaming. Let's go with work first. If you're using Excel, Word, or say like on Teams or something, and you want to switch between things really quickly without having to use your keyboard, just click it and all done. Say.
Right, so yeah, now the benefits of why starting TikTok and Instagram and social media. For me, it's kind of changed a lot of things I do in my life, kind of in a way. So first of all, it's allowed me to work with quite a few big brands. One of them being UCAS, which I'm sure most of you will know, and I'm actually going to be applying through UCAS's website this year for my university applications. And then I've also worked with a few financial apps such as PaySend and Shares, which are like investing apps, and PaySend is one where you can transfer money to other countries internationally with a very small fee. So let me just show you a quick video of how my UCAS video was. It was about results days and the webinars they were doing, because obviously results day doesn't go to plan for everyone. So it's just showing that it's not the end of the day, end of the world, basically.
Hey bro, it's almost results day, it's the end of a chapter. Kind of exciting, wouldn't you say? Bro, I can't wait for uni, but I just hope I've done enough. Whatever happens, you should be proud of yourself and you should celebrate all of your hard work. Yeah, I know, I've done all I can, but I still feel so nervous. Bro, UCAS has got you covered. To help you prepare for the big day and your next adventure, they have got 2 results day shows. There will be big celebrations, tips on how to get ready for uni life, but also advice from experts if things don't go quite to plan. Okay, I'm definitely here for that. Head to UCAS's Instagram or Facebook on Monday 9th August at 4 PM and Tuesday 10th August at 9:30 AM to join the live shows. And good luck, bro, you've got this.
All right, wait, and also it's actually allowed me to connect with many people and increase my network. Of like, for example, UCAS, I was able to contact the head of communications and marketing at the UCAS website. And so definitely increases my network. And in the future, if I ever want to email them again, I have their contacts. I think it's increased my confidence quite a lot, and definitely camera skills. It's kind of like stepping outside of my comfort zone. I do like making videos, but I used to make videos on gaming and stuff, and that was when I wasn't showing my face. So when I started showing my face, it was a bit different. I did feel a bit nervous. It did take a while to get used to it, but I enjoy it now. So yeah, it's fine. I'm also in collaboration with Discover Economics, and we're trying to increase the diversity of economics. So there's actually, according to stats, it's very underrepresented by girls in certain communities. And I can see that from my own A-level economics class, where there's only 1 girl So I'm trying to collaborate. I'm making videos with them where we're going to try and just spread the subject of economics and how it's like useful in everyday life, as from yesterday's mini budget. If you guys saw that, it would be useful to have a good understanding of basic economic terms. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about monetization. I don't do this that much because I'm focusing obviously on A levels. It's a big year for me right now, year 13, but I have had a few brand deals here and there. But I just want to firstly say, if you're starting social media purely to make money, I think you should stop and just like think about what's the reason you're starting for. It takes a lot of hard work and consistency to build a brand. And if your main aim is to make money, you will quit after a few videos. You won't grow. So there's a few ways you can monetize. The first way, in which I've done like 2 or 3, is brand deals and sponsorships. So in this, the brand, which is normally going to be a brand in your niche. So in my niche, it's the finance, economics, business. So that's why I'm promoting more financial apps or investing apps. So they're going to email you. Mostly they always reach out to you and they'll ask you to promote their video, and in return, they'll obviously give you a compensation. So sometimes this will be sometimes it's actually could be like 3 months free for their course or for their app. So if it's a paid subscription, you can get the whole year for free like that. Or sometimes it will be like a set fee or money, or sometimes it will be affiliate marketing. So which I've mentioned down here below. Affiliate marketing is where you promote the brand's app or the brand's website or service, and you get a small fee from it. And so some of them, I know it might not seem that much, but when you have like 100,000 followers and at least a 5% engagement rate, that's a decent amount of money, I guess, with affiliate marketing. Even if it's just like, say, £1 per download, it can add up. Another way is online courses. If you know something that you think that not many people might know, such as video editing, you can sell it on an online course. And I think the best way to start with online courses is to provide value for free and keep providing value, and then your secrets that you haven't put on your social media pages, you put that into like an online course, and then you can sell that. And because you've been providing value for such a long time, people have built like a connection with you. Your audience and you have a really strong connection, and they'll happily buy your course to learn, and they know they can trust you because of how much value you've provided online for free. Another thing is you can branch out to other platforms, such as Instagram, YouTube, and things like that. So I know a lot of my influencer friends have gone from TikTok to YouTube, and YouTube does pay quite well with the YouTube ad revenue. So that is there. But I haven't done many of this because obviously my main focus right now is A levels and university applications. But I do try and do just a few just here and there if I can. Right. So obviously over the 2 years, there's got to be a few things I've learned, as with anything. So the first one is that you want to love the journey, not the destination. If your ultimate goal is to make money or build a successful business, it just won't work. Instead, it's to build a loyal audience of like-minded people, as there's no direct monetary compensation for your efforts. So you can't aim for that. You have to love making content, and then everything will come, like the brand deals and all that will come. Secondly, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. When it comes to content creation, you don't have to do something like majorly different. You can kind of see what's doing well in your niche, adapt it and make it unique in your way. That's kind of what I did, I guess, with the conversational style videos. A lot of people were doing it, and you just want to make something unique about you. And then thirdly is you want to choose a niche you're passionate about, because if you're not passionate about it, you'll get bored after like a few weeks of making videos. And I think that's probably one of the most important things, followed by consistency, which is definitely the most important. You're going to be uploading for like once a day at least for about like a year before you actually see results properly. It took me quite a while to get results. I was getting a few hundred views actually, and just like a few thousand views. But I think what people don't realize is that when you put it into imagination, imagine 1,000 people watching your video. Like that is insane, just 1,000 people. And then when you go bigger into the numbers, you realize that like 1 million people have seen your face. That is quite cool. And 1 million people have learned about like taxes, for example. Like you've taught 1 million people about taxes in a way, and it's quite cool. And when you think about that, so that's what I like to think about. And then my fifth one is that you can do this alongside your education or like work life. So I'm in full-time education, and obviously I've done quite well in GCSEs, attaining 10 A stars, and so I was able to do TikTok and social media alongside my education, and I think it's worked quite well. So obviously right now, hopefully I'll do well in my A levels next year, and I'll just keep continuing to make videos on finance and economics. So thank you for listening to this presentation. If you want to ask me any questions about my journey or other things, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, it's Daniel Sundaram, or my Instagram, which is DanXSunday. And yeah, I would also like to thank the Rise Foundation for giving me the opportunity to talk about my passion today. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. We've got one question, which is, Daniel, how did you convince your parents that doing TikTok videos and social media is good and can still be done in a safe way?
Right. Thank you for the question, first of all. Okay, wait, can you repeat it? How do I convince my parents?
Yeah, how do you convince your parents that doing TikTok videos?
Right, I'll tell you guys a funny story actually. I started it, and started like over 1.5 2 years ago, and I think I told my brother first, and so I know that because he's dealt with my parents before, so I was like, okay, I'll tell Paul first and see what he thinks about it. And then he was like, oh wow, you're getting like 10k views, that's cool, you've got to tell on mine or like my parents. And so I think we went to them one night, and then I think I made sure he told it, because it would sound better if he told it rather than me. And obviously I was stuck in year 10 there, or year 11 there, so I was still quite shy and I didn't want to say. So I told my parents, and obviously they were like, that's really good, well done, but just to be careful. Obviously social media, it can be quite a dangerous place online, just to be careful with what I upload, and with negative comments and stuff like that. I just have to deal with it. And if you're putting yourself out there on social media, you're going to get negative comments. But what I see it is as if I'm getting negative comments, I'm assuming that is because I'm doing well, because that person is commenting on my video, and they're taking their time to comment on my video about something that's not the best. So I think that is maybe because you're doing well, or maybe they're just not liking what you're doing. But just ignore that, and I think that's it basically.
Okay, well, the questions are flooding in now. Another one is, will you continue this even after you join uni?
Does this mean he means after A levels? Yeah, I do want to do it after uni, after A levels. I think I have got a few ideas for content creation, maybe branching out into different fields. Obviously one of my big passions is economics, but also mathematics. So there are some decent content creators talking about doing maths videos and stuff, and there are good ones. Maybe that I'm not sure. We'll see where it all takes me, but I definitely will try and continue it after A levels. And maybe if I go to uni, I can maybe talk about how my experience at uni, maybe do like days in the life, vlogs and stuff like that.
You mentioned content creators. Another question is, since there's so many content creators, how do you stand out?
Okay, that's a good question. Standing out, I guess just trying to do something that's unique, but you have to understand that people will copy you, and you will sometimes get ideas from people. And so I think one thing that we as the finance creators have done, like we have a Discord group chat, is what we always tag each other if we've got an idea from them, and therefore that means that you're not going to be like copying them straight up. You're adding your own unique to it, but you're tagging them for their idea, and you're giving them you're giving them the credit for their idea. So I guess that, but to stand out, I think you just got to keep posting, and then if you think of an idea that you think no one else has done, just upload it straight away. Just make that video and just upload it, because I think that's probably like the best. Okay, well, there's another question about advice on crypto investment, if you've got any advice on that. Crypto investment, I'm not the best to talk about this, honestly, but I would just say there has been a craze. It's like the tulip mania bubble and stuff like that. Just do your research, I would say. And obviously there's been a Bitcoin craze, the Ethereum craze. Right now, crypto is not doing the best. I would say just do your research. I'm not so much into crypto. I think I'm going to start it after my A levels, and probably in the summer of year 13, like stocks and crypto. So I can't really answer on that. Sorry.
Okay, let me see how many more questions. So one question, which is, I'd say, a really good question, is what actually motivated you in the first place to start the TikTok?
I guess, right, so I was bored in lockdown, I think it was, and I was bored of just scrolling on TikTok on my phone and consuming content and realizing that I'm just wasting like time away just going on my phone on TikTok, as Arvin said in his previous talk. So I was like, okay, why not just make a change, just upload videos? And there was motivation, but it was just, I just was like, okay, I just want to upload every day. And like I think it's the comments sometimes that some of them are like, oh my gosh, I've learned more from you than I have in school and stuff. The comments like that, or like some of my dad once showed it to his nurses, and like his nurses went up to him and was like, oh my gosh, I've learned so much from your son's TikTok videos. Like I've learned more than what I've learned on the internet or taught by other people. So it's just small things like that. The comments I really like them, and I think it's just a nice way for people to appreciate what you're doing. And I think it's a nice way that what you're giving out is actually, people are actually appreciating it. Like they like it, basically.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions on brand deals, and how much do you make on average from a brand deal, and what your criteria is when you accept a brand deal?
With contracting, you're not allowed to answer how much you're making, but I'll give like a figure that it would be sometimes just in the hundreds for a brand deal, but there would be criteria of that, with the brand wanting to have 6 months, normally 6 months content usage rights, and also whitelisting ads. So it ranges for the niche, and it also ranges for the it ranges for the creator, because I think it's like a standard amount for a certain amount of followers, but it depends on the brand. And yeah, so it's like that. But criteria for the brand deal is I probably want to do videos that I know is more in the finance niche and I know my audience might like. But I think one thing I need to take into account is that a lot of my audience are teenagers, so a lot of these investing apps, financial apps, they're not that suited for my audience because they're more 18, which is why sometimes I try and do stuff that is for my audience, kind of thing.
Okay, well, we've got some more questions here about how do you handle your popularity in school and with your friends?
I guess you probably know, Rick, that like random year 7s and 8s and 9s come up to me like, it's Dan Sunday, but I don't know, I just say, I guess sometimes I get happy and I just like, yeah, I just go along with it. Some people are quite nice about it. I don't really talk about it much in school. I think some teachers know, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
You've obviously had quite a lot of success on your TikTok. Do any people on the streets of Leicester recognize you?
Not Leicester, but where was it? Was it London Stansted, East Midlands? Okay, so I was lining in the queue for, I think it was at London Stansted before I went on holiday this summer, in fact, to Denmark. And I was like, I think it was a security queue, and some guy just randomly came up to me. He was like, yo, you're from Instagram, right? And he's like, yeah, I've seen your videos. And he was like, respect. And like, my parents were quite surprised by that, and I was really shocked, and my brother, like, wow, someone actually recognized me. That shows that people are watching my videos, I guess. So yeah, but not really in Leicester. I haven't seen that many, but yeah.
Okay, and this, I think, final question I've got here is, how long do you research before you post the content / video, and how do you select the topics?
How long do you research? So like yesterday, with the mini budget announcement, and the day before with the Bank of England interest rates to 2.25%, I think I read the news a lot. So I'm quite an avid reader of the news. I just all the time during school I read it. So I think I would read it on like the bus in school. Then I'll make a little script in school, and then on the bus, and then when I come back home, I would make the video, edit it, and then by like 5:30 in the evening, I'm done, and I can focus on schoolwork, gym, going with Eric, and then like spending time with family, eating dinner, and like watching TV or something. So I think, yeah, that's how I do it. So I think you need to kind of balance your time when you're organizing the scripts. Some people say that you should like bulk make the videos, like on one day just spend 6 hours making videos. I don't really like that. I just make the videos here and there when it comes, kind of thing.
Okay. Well, it's great to see. Oh, I think we might have one more question. Where did you learn about finance, and how do you feel comfortable about such a complicated topic when you're still in school?
How do I learn about finance? I think reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad was what opened my eyes to the way money works in a way. This was year 10, this was lockdown, year 10 summer, reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It just kind of it's quite a simple book, but I think I really liked it. For that age at 14 years old, it was a good book for me to read. I think that was when it all started. I still don't know much about, I still don't know that much. Like, I still got a lot to learn, but I'm definitely willing to learn in the future. And I definitely do love the topics, especially because I think that like economics and finance, the whole world relates around it. Like everything that's going on right now, especially after the pandemic, with Brexit, with the Russia-Ukraine war, with energy bills, cost of living crisis, the mini budget announced yesterday, Bank of England, everything. I think all of it relates around the topics of finance and economics. And I kind of just want to preach that to teenagers and young adults and show them that like it's an interesting topic, and you definitely need it in today's constantly changing world. So yeah.
Okay. Scroll down, more coming in.
Yeah.
How much time do you spend like creating a single TikTok video, just on average?
So it used to be really quick. So back when I started making videos like how to get free stuff and stuff, that was like 5 minutes. That was when I was able to post like 5 times a day or 3 times a day. But now, because I'm doing the conversational style videos, and I'm also doing putting the like subtitles, lyrics, and then also adding pictures and other stuff, it takes from like half an hour to an hour, I would say. But if you're organized about it, you can like create scripts when you're on the bus or in the car journey. So yeah.
Okay. And there's one question about, let me find it. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. How can people meet you to ask for a selfie with you or take an autograph?
What, like a meet?
Yeah, I guess maybe a meet and greet. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, okay, just hop down to High Cross one day. I'll be outside the Mackeys, maybe next weekend or the weekend after. Yeah, just come down, or just connect with me on LinkedIn if you generally want to have a proper chat with me about like social media and stuff. I'm happy to reply, or Instagram, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, when you mentioned about YouTube and other platforms, would you expand to YouTube and other platforms in the future?
YouTube, yeah, so I think yes and no. I think I'm gonna like continue to upload on TikTok. I want to try and diversify and upload on Instagram a bit more, and obviously Instagram's, I think, is a bit more respected platform, and it's definitely harder to go on that. So I definitely do want to try and increase my following on that and continue to make videos on that. Regarding to YouTube, I'm thinking of maybe starting after A levels. So I know that I've done like my 6th form career, and maybe talk about like how I found A levels, GCSEs, but also talk about economics and finance still, and kind of relate that stuff basically.
Okay. And do you fact check before posting?
Yes, I try and fact check most of the time before posting. I think I try and take my sources from try and take my information from a reliable source, such as the BBC News, Sky News, or like the Forbes or stuff like that. So yeah.
And since like quite a lot of your content is around finance, would you pursue that as a career, or would you have anything else in mind?
Yeah. So definitely, I probably will end up going into a career in finance. Although journalism does quite interest me, like, you know, with the BBC News correspondents stuff, what they do, or like Faisal Islam, the economics editor for the BBC News, maybe writing articles relating to economics or finance, stuff like that. But I think I hopefully will be able to go into the career finance in a few years. But my ultimate goal is to become an entrepreneur, as you probably know. So yeah.
I've got another interesting question here actually, and it'd be what number of followers means that you're kind of really up there in the stratosphere and don't have to post content every day like you were saying before?
Yeah, I think it. So back then, but like a year ago, is probably where I'm at. But I think right now you want to be maybe a bit more higher followers, like 300k or something like that. But as under 10k on TikTok specifically, you want to be posting at least every day or at least 3 times a day, kind of thing. But then after that, you can kind of slow it down, maybe branch to YouTube and Instagram. And if you branch to YouTube, you can slow it down on TikTok and like get your followers on TikTok to move to YouTube. That's like my aim right now, to try and move my audience to other platforms, kind of thing.
Okay, I just realized there's been a question asked from Siva.
Yeah,
there's a question from Siva. Yeah, and I think you might have answered some of this already, but since you've been so successful already, do you know like exactly what your next step is?
Next step, not really, because I'm kind of focusing on the schoolwork. But yeah, I guess I kind of want to do something, still continue to help teenagers and young adults, and I think that's my main aim right now. So maybe something related to that in the future, but not right now. I'm not really sure.
Okay, I've got final 2 questions, it seems so far anyway. About like, did you explore multiple topics before settling down on finance? And I like this one. What other topics like really tickle your interest, as the question says?
Good questions. Did I explore multiple topics? Yeah, so I don't know if business counts, because I was I don't know if that counts. I was originally like more making videos about business and stuff, so I'm not sure if that counts. But yeah, I guess you could say that. But other topics that tickle my interest, I guess you could say politics, although that still is a little bit related to economics. So yeah, I'm quite interested in politics, current affairs. Maths, I'm very much interested in, I think. Yeah, so maths, I love maths, which is another topic that, like, obviously I'm doing maths and further maths for A levels, and I like the way maths can be applied to real life scenarios with economics and applied finance and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but there's another. I'll ask this last question because it's come up, and it's how do you manage any negative comments from your social media posts?
I think I answered this earlier, but just ignore it, or you know that you're kind of doing something right if people are commenting negativity on your post, and also that they're taking their time to come post something when they could be doing something more useful. So I just see it as, oh, maybe I'm doing well, or I would just ignore it. So yeah, I think that is it.
Well, it's great to see so many questions. It's like over 20. So yeah, it's clearly you've been talking about something interesting, Daniel.
Yeah.
But wait, do we have time to answer one more? One more's come in.
I think we can answer a few more, maybe.
Okay, so simple one. How many followers have you gained today?
Today?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Oh, come on, you can check quickly, surely.
No, I can't, because it comes the day after, doesn't it? Or like the week after the stats.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have to hold on to that one.
Yeah,
and
but okay, I think that's done.
Last chance for questions, everyone. I get it. We're nearly up.
But yeah, thank you, Rick, for taking your time out of your busy schedule. Obviously, with BMAT revision and a future medic in the making. So I would like to thank Rick for moderating and asking some good questions. Also, thank you to the Rise Foundation for giving me this opportunity. And make sure to donate through the links sent in all the group chats and stuff. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the webinar, 24 hours, 3rd edition. And thank you, Cubby Uncle, for doing this Rise 24 again.
So yeah, thank you, everyone. And thanks for the great questions as well.
Can I hand over to the Mr. Arunakumar?
Hello. Hello, good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you, the RISE Foundation, for having me today as a moderator. So the next speaker is Aravind Suresh, who is going to talk about on a topic, my pathway into LSC economics and investment banking. I'm sure this topic is going to be a very exciting topic for all of you. I'm very delighted and certainly privileged to act as a moderator for Aravind Suresh, whom I had a pleasure to teach and mentor from his GCSE all the way to A-levels. Aravind is a very clever student and hardworking, and had an excellent attitude to learning and helping others. Aravind is a 21-year-old private equity analyst at the world's largest infrastructure asset manager, having previously studied BSc Economics at the London School of Economics and Political Science. The LSE is one of the top London university and is ranked very highly among all the other universities in the world in economics and econometrics. Where he actually graduated with a first-class honors degree, and prior to his, he finished his A-levels with 4 A stars and received 15 A stars at GCSE. He even managed to do the 2 A-level statistics in GCSE and got A stars. So he has a wealth of knowledge about studying the UK education system and the financial industry. And he has recently started a YouTube channel and business both entitled Azure, to help students looking to break into competitive universities and industries. I'm sure that the topic will be of much interest to all of you. Please kindly post any questions at the end of the talk. Over to you, Aravind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arun Kumar, for such a warm welcome. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this talk today, being here, being part of RISE 24, the 3rd edition. And thank you once again to the RISE Foundation Leicestershire for providing me with such a great platform to speak and present today, and also for creating this initiative that's focused on fundraising and donating to charity. Once again, for everyone who's listening, it would be really great if you could support this initiative by donating in the link in the chat. Now, without further ado, let's get into this presentation. Let me just share the screen. Okay. So, seconds. Right. So before I begin, can I just confirm that you can see the screen and you can see me? Yeah? All good? All right, okay, let's get straight into it. So Arun Kumar gave a really good kind of description of my background. And just to recap, I graduated from LSE this summer with a first-class honors in BSc Economics. I'm currently working in the finance industry as a private equity analyst. And prior to that, I studied at Lawrence Trevor School and got all A stars at GCSE and A level. Now, in terms of why I chose this topic of discussing my pathway, it's actually because prior to this edition of RISE 24, I actually put out a poll asking people what they would like to see from me during this edition, what topics they would like me to discuss. And an overwhelming kind of theme or subject that people really wanted to ask me about was my particular journey into LSE, how I got where I am today in terms of what subjects I applied to, what work experience I did, and even some more niche things like what I'm investing in right now. So I thought I'd kind of demystify all these things and provide a bit more clarity. And that's really the purpose of this presentation today. So some very quick caveats. The first thing is that there isn't just one set way to do something. Just because I got to where I am today, taking the decisions that I did, doesn't mean that you have to follow and replicate it exactly step by step. You can get to the same exact destination where I am today, taking a completely different route. So don't think just after seeing this presentation that you have to do exactly as I tell you, or use your own initiative, use your own better judgment to decide whether these things work for you. It's also worth noting that although I did do certain things over the past few years to get where I am today, I wouldn't necessarily do those things if I could do them over today. So in those instances, I will talk about it in this presentation and let you know if I feel like we could do anything else. Just give me 1 second. Could we have the windows closed, please? Could we have the windows closed, please, if it's all possible? It's already closed. Okay, no worries. So let's start off. Okay, we've got 2 other things, and probably the most important things being that, 1, I am not a financial advisor. So anything where I talk about investing is not financial advice and should not be construed as financial advice. This is entirely my own opinion. And you'll find that I can make poor investments just like anyone else. Just because I work in the financial industry doesn't mean I have a crystal ball. And as I say, this is entirely my own opinion and does not represent the views of either my previous university LSE nor my current financial firm. So let's get into the pathway to economics, or at least my pathway into economics. And in this section, I'm going to talk about exactly the subjects I took at GCSE and A-level, any extracurriculars I did, and any work experience I did, and just generally reflect on my time prior to university. So at GCSE, as you can see, these are the subjects I took. I took 15 subjects over the course of, I guess, 2 years. I took RE, religious education, in year 10, and the rest all in year 11. And I've highlighted or boldened the subjects that I think were particularly useful going forward. And so if we look at that list, or particularly the subjects that I've highlighted, I'd say maths is by far probably the most beneficial or most necessary one in terms of finance and or joining or studying economics at a degree level, because economics in and of itself is quite a quantitative degree. So you'll need to have very strong math skills in order to do well at it. Now, moving down that list and going to French/German, taking it at GCSE in and of itself wasn't particularly beneficial, or I don't think it's particularly beneficial, because you don't develop a good enough level at the language to really be able to use it. However, the fact that I took it at GCSE enabled me to take it at A-level, and taking it at A-level is very, very useful. You can put it as your CV as a key differentiator. In fact, a lot of kind of investment banks look for an additional language these days. But also, when I was applying for university, taking a foreign language, at least up to GCSE level, was a prerequisite for certain universities. I believe it was UCL, like one of the big universities in London, that required a modern language up to GCSE level. I did double check their website, and that's no longer a prerequisite, or that's no longer a requirement rather, but it is just worth checking. They could update at any moment. So I would personally say learning a language was quite beneficial. I also took business studies and up till GCSE level. And although business studies actually gets quite a lot of criticism and hate for people for not being that challenging of a subject, but I think at GCSE level, at least, it was very, very beneficial, because it provides you with the basic economic concepts and business concepts that will give you a good grounding going forward when you study economics at an A level and degree level. It just kind of prepares you. You get used to things such as minimum cost, average cost, marginal cost, which are very core concepts that are applied throughout your time at studying economics. So doing business studies as a bit of a precursor was really beneficial. And then, as Arun Kumar alluded to, I also took AS statistics a year early, I guess, whilst I was studying for my GCSEs. And at a university level, a lot of economics requires you to have a good understanding of stats, especially for kind of models, econometric models and things, where you're trying to understand what factor is actually the most important reason behind, let's say, a financial crisis or a certain outcome occurring, in which case you need to have quite a good grounding in statistics. And so AS statistics really helped me and prepared me for that. And then finally, EPQ, or the extended project qualification. Doing an EPQ in and of itself isn't particularly beneficial, but if you choose to do your EPQ, and to clarify, an extended project qualification is kind of like a mini dissertation. You choose a question, maybe a controversial question, and you kind of write a dissertation, you do research, and then you ultimately try and answer that question and come to a conclusion. So if you choose an economics related topic, an EPQ can be really, really beneficial because it gives you something that you can talk about in your personal statement, but also means that you're fairly well read around a certain economics topic. And again, that can prepare you when you're not only applying to study economics at university, but when you're at university itself. Now, in terms of how I studied, I spoke earlier today about kind of my routine and things, but generally I would say that I didn't do anything particularly special. I'd say if you just do all your homework and you revise for your tests and actually put in just a decent level of effort during the school year, you're probably going to do quite well. But in terms of some key differentiating factors between myself and other people, I'd say that I started off a lot earlier in terms of my peak kind of revision or studying. I pretty much started studying hard from the very get-go of the academic year, whereas other people will start, really buckling down towards the latter end of the year when actual exams are approaching. My personal philosophy was that I'd rather start studying hard early so that over a longer period of time, like it was less intense. Like it was more so a slow burner where I put in small amounts of work consistently over a longer period of time, rather than having to really stress out towards the end, having not done enough preparation and really having to really struggle in order to learn all the content. I'd also recommend making the most out of the resources that are available to you. As I alluded to earlier today, I'd really recommend just speaking to your teachers, asking your teachers for help. They are probably your most useful resource. As I say, I used to go into my English teacher's classroom during my free time in order to, or during lunchtime in order to get my work reviewed and get her opinions on the quality of my work and see how I could improve. And that really helped me progress. Of course, none of this was really possible or would have been really possible without having strong sense of discipline and drive. As I was really, really motivated to get all A stars at GCSE and A level, and that was probably my #1 goal. And because I was so driven towards achieving that, I was disciplined and regimented and made sure that I would put in the work even if I didn't feel like it. And also because I was taking 15 subjects, it was simply necessary for me by default to be quite structured and manage my time well. Otherwise, it simply wouldn't have been feasible for me to have done so well across all 15 of my subjects. I referred to kind of being disciplined and driven. I wasn't always motivated all the time, but nonetheless, I would study even if I didn't feel like it. I would just study in a form that was slightly less intensive or cumbersome or tiring. So for example, instead of answering homework questions, I might read the textbook or read the revision guide because it was still studying. I knew it was still going to be beneficial to me, but it just didn't require that much mental input or it wasn't that mentally fatiguing, but I was still making progress towards my goal. And similarly, I would watch things on YouTube that were related to economics, for example, or related to English, like the English books that I was studying as part of my GCSE. Or if I had an essay due, I might not necessarily write the essay, but at least I was preparing and planning the points. So writing an essay is a lot more difficult because you have to think about your specific word choices and your analysis. But brainstorming isn't all that difficult because you can just write down things and choose which points you want to really put for your essay later down the line. In terms of extracurriculars, I did a mix of extracurriculars that were kind of related to my subject or would kind of advance me in my career. And I also did extracurriculars that weren't particularly relevant to my career, but I just did because I enjoyed them. So we break them down into those two sections. In terms of the subject-related extracurriculars I took part in a few national business challenges. So the two that come to my head were the Coca-Cola Business Challenge, where where myself and my team from school got to the national finals. And also I entered the University of Liverpool National Business Challenge, where it was myself leading a team of myself and 2 other people, and we ranked 3rd place nationally. I also started to acquire work experience from quite an early age. So my first bit of work experience was done in that summer between year 9 and year 10. I did a week at a place called Synergy in Trade. By that time, keep in mind, I'd already realized that I was pretty money-minded, pretty interested in kind of financial markets or finance related stuff. So I kind of knew that was the broad area I wanted to go into. So I did it at a place called Synergy and Trade that looked at kind of letters of credit. But every year after that, I also tried or aspired to get a bit more work experience. So in my summer between years 10 and 11, I conducted work experience at General Electric. And that was because a part of me wasn't sure if I wanted to go into engineering. So I tried that out, but I ended up actually enjoying the most part in terms of the cost reduction element of that GE we're looking at. And then finally, after my GCSEs in year 11, I did, I want to say a week and a half at the London Stock Exchange, and I really enjoyed that. And that I think was what kind of solidified that I wanted to really go into the finance route or the econ route. And then looking at the extracurriculars that were completely unrelated to my career or subjects, the main two that I focused on, at least before GCSE, were basketball and music. And it gave me something to look forward to that wasn't studying. It was a nice break. It was a nice way to de-stress and socialize and just do something that wasn't always looking at a textbook. And for full disclosure, I'm not a machine. I never claimed to be, and I never was in the past. So I did play video games. I did do kind of non-productive things on the side. I just tried to limit them for the most part. I'd only maybe play like 30 minutes to an hour a week, if that. Only if I really had nothing to do and I felt like I could really reward myself, would I do it. Otherwise, I was pretty focused on studying, I would say. Now, moving on to my A-levels, I took 4 A-levels, maths, further maths, economics, and French. And I'd actually say that all of them were pretty invaluable to where I am today or really beneficial. Again, for maths, if you want to take further maths, you have to take maths. So I'm going to just disregard maths for now. But further maths, if you want to go and study economics, particularly at a university or an institution that's well known for having a maths intensive course, and keep in mind, probably the more prestigious courses do tend to be more maths related, maybe with the exception of Oxford's Economics and Management, which is a kind of a joint honours degree. But for the majority of actual pure economics courses, you need to be pretty good at maths. And in most cases, further maths is a requirement. Even if they don't admit it, they basically look for it when you're applying. So would strongly recommend taking further maths if you're interested in pursuing economics at a top uni in the future. Economics, believe it or not, actually isn't a requirement when you're applying to study economics at a degree level. However, I would say that it's highly recommended that you take it, just because when you're at university, the way economics at university works is they teach you everything from a mathematical perspective. They try to show you through maths why a certain concept works. And it can be quite difficult if that's your first ever exposure to a theory, because you're learning it first off through maths rather than through intuition and logic. So taking A-level economics, I'd say, gives you quite a good grounding. It makes learning economics at university a lot easier because you at least know what to expect when you're learning a theory. So you can know before you're actually studying what to expect, and so the maths makes a bit more sense. Whereas if you do it without kind of taking A-level economics, it's kind of like being thrown in the deep end where you don't really know the theory well enough to kind of just figure it out. And then you just become overly reliant on maths and it becomes a bit more difficult. Now, finally, French. French is not a necessity for studying economics at university by any means, but I would say that it is a key life skill. First of all, it's a useful CV differentiator. As I alluded to before, a lot of banks, a lot of financial firms look for additional languages when they're employing people. Again, it's not a necessity, but it definitely is an advantage nonetheless. But also, what was going through my head was, right, if I do French for another 2 years, I can be fluent. I can speak another language fluently and survive in another country. And it just opens up so many more opportunities for me. And what's more, I get maybe 5-6 hours of French a week for free. I can learn a key skill basically for free. Whereas if I were to try do this outside of school, it would cost me 120, 150 pounds a week to try do the same thing. So for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer to take French. And then also the other thing kind of from an administrative perspective is when you're studying for your A-levels, when you're choosing the A-level subjects, you're given option blocks. Basically, the school can only fit in a certain number of combinations of subjects. So they limit you into kind of taking a certain selection of subjects. And for me, French was in my final option block, and it was the most appealing subject to take. And so again, that was another thing that pushed me towards taking French. How I studied at an A-level, again, it was pretty much the same basic formula of starting early, using time effectively, leveraging my teacher's knowledge and working with others. But I remember specifically that when I was studying for my A-levels, I had this really strong mentality of no one is going to outwork me. And this particularly intensified after I got rejected from the University of Oxford, I want to say in January 2019, because at that point I remember feeling like I deserved better, or I deserved to be going. So I kind of had a bit of a chip on my shoulder, and that really encouraged me to work hard. In terms of how I practically studied for all of those different subjects that I mentioned, for maths and further maths, I attempted every single question in the textbook without fail. I would not miss one, just because I wanted to make sure that there was nothing that could faze me during the actual exam, that I at least covered all my bases to the best possible way. I didn't want to leave that exam hall knowing that I could have even done like 1% more effort. So if you see in the bottom left of this screen, or of this slide rather, you can see those are all the exercise books that I filled up over a 2-year period. And if I recall correctly, I think it was 84 exercise books in total. I also attempted questions from other people's syllabus. So a close friend of mine was taking the AQA syllabus, whereas I was doing EdXL, and he would sometimes get stuck on questions. And he would just message me saying, "Oh, bro, can you help me out with this question?" And so by doing that, I ended up actually doing questions on the same topic, but that were in a slightly different style. And again, that prepared me even more for the exam, because I was just even more better prepared for any question that the exam could throw at me. Similarly for economics, as a year 13, I went into year 12 classes during my free periods. There would be a Tuesday or a Monday where there were no classes, where we were allowed to go home early. And instead of going home, I would just go into the year 12 class, sit down at like the back of be a bit of a backbencher for that class, listen to what the teachers were saying. And that would be my way of revising and recapping the year 12 material. But I would also just be doing essays during those classes, and then get the teacher to review it whenever he had a spare moment. And again, by getting feedback so often from my teacher, it was inevitable that my teaching style was going to improve. And so by the end of the school year, I was getting 25 out of 25 in my essays for the most part. And I think in my actual A-levels, I ended up getting 90% in my exam. So I think it paid off. And finally, with French, I hired a French tutor to help me with speaking. I identified that was an area where I could probably improve. And so I just took the necessary steps to really work on that skill. And then I just kept an extensive record of the notes that I took during school, compiled it into one revision document, and then started committing that revision document to memory fairly early on in the school year. My A-level extracurriculars, again, were fairly well balanced in terms of career or university focused, and also non-career. So if we look at my career ones first, I applied to be head boy in basically my final year of school. I was successful, and that's a strong signal to universities, because a head boy as a position is normally reserved for one of the more capable or top students within the school. So it was a good sign or signal to universities that I was a good prospective student. And it also further strengthened my organizational skills, because I had to organize events. And also, I really enjoyed being head boy, because it was giving back to a community that I cared the most about. To this day, I'd say Lawrence Sheriff School community is the place that I think I'm most at home at, the one that I care about the most, even more so than LSE. I also engaged in problem-solving courses. So every week in year 12, I want to say, I would attend problem-solving courses at the University of Warwick in preparation for the TSA, which basically was the University of Oxford admissions exam. So I'd say it did help in a certain way. They were more maths related rather than economics related, so slightly different. I'd recommend attending those if you can, especially if you're applying for Cambridge, because Cambridge now takes the TMUA, which is a test. I think it's a mathematics-based test. I think it's the test for mathematical university admissions or something like that. So this problem solving course would probably come in pretty useful for those sorts of exams, I'd say. And then I also continued acquiring work experience in the summer between year 12 and year 13. I got work experience at a place called Mace Group, which was a construction management company, pretty big one. And I quickly realized that management was not a thing that I particularly enjoyed. In terms of non-career extracurriculars, the two that I focused on whilst in sixth form were probably basketball and the gym, just because of how good they were for socializing, de-stressing, but also creating a sense of discipline and order in my routine. In terms of some extra tips for anyone who's applying to study economics at university, whilst you're in the sixth form at the very least, read The Economist and the Financial Times to get up to date with world news. You don't necessarily have to get one yourself. The school should have a subscription, so just ask around and see if they can get one. I think it's fairly common that schools have it. So as I say, just ask. Remember that your teachers are there to support you, and they're probably the greatest asset and the greatest thing that you can rely upon at a school level. At university, this isn't the case. The teachers don't really look out for you in the same way. But at school, really make the most. The teachers want you to succeed. They want you to do well. So don't be afraid to ask them for additional support. Ask if you can go and sit into their lessons, sit in their classroom during lunchtime. Do not be afraid. They're there to help you. And finally, just practice, practice, practice. And that goes with everything from the TSA, interview questions, and also for your actual A-level subjects. Reflecting back on my time at school, in terms of things that I have done differently, for anyone who's kind of applying for Oxford or Cambridge, I would say start working on your analytical or problem-solving skills, because that's actually what Oxford and Cambridge are looking for, your ability to really think critically and solve problems that you aren't really aware of. And so in order to do that, I probably would have started focusing on solving puzzles, solving riddles at an earlier stage, rather than being reliant on my memory to get me through things. And I think that was one of the mistakes I made. I'm blessed with quite a good memory. So my kind of method or strategy to doing well in exams and everything was to just memorize and learn the content, and then use the fact that I was able to recall content as the basis for my answers, rather than actually thinking proactively and critically about the problem in front of me. And so if I were to do it all over again, I would focus more on engaging in actual problem solving, getting used to solving questions that aren't familiar to me, rather than trying to memorize my way through things. The other thing that I should know about Oxford and Cambridge when doing your interviews is that Oxford and Cambridge have this rep for asking very difficult or weird, intriguing questions. That's not actually how it works. They actually start off quite generalist, and then they'll start going into a niche topic. And what they'll do is they'll disguise an economics type problem or situation in an environment where it doesn't seem like it's related to economics in the slightest. And so that's what I mean. For example, during my interview, I got asked about asymmetric information, basically being sold goods where you can't identify the quality of them. And that's quite a common economic phenomenon, but it was posed to me in such a way that it wasn't obvious. And that's why I'm saying that it's so important to be able to kind of critically think about the problem, rather than recognizing, oh, this is a problem about asymmetric information. I would also recommend applying for structured work experience. All the work experience that I personally got was more informal, more through networking, through contacts, which was all well and good. But if you want to get actual experience at a large financial firm, then there are structured applications for you to do to get work experience at these large investment banks. I have a list of some of the banks that do it between year 12 and year 13. So some of them are JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Nomura, HSBC, Credit Suisse. They all have various programs that you should look into, do a bit of research, and take these applications seriously, because they will be really, really beneficial. And also note that there are new pathways to doing things. There are now apprenticeships for front office roles. So if you think university is not for you, if you've never liked the concept of studying and you've always been a bit more of a practical person, would highly recommend looking into apprenticeships for finance. So Goldman Sachs does one for sales and trading in the global markets. I also think JP Morgan and HSBC also have apprenticeship offerings. You also really want to think whether economics as a degree is for you. You don't necessarily need to take economics if you want to join an investment bank, nor do you have to take finance or even anything related to it. It certainly helps, finance in particular, but you can enter an investment bank these days taking other degrees. So just worth considering. In terms of what economics is actually good for, it improves your analytical skills, your critical thinking, your problem solving, and it further enhances your ability to kind of understand the economy, understand the central bank, fiscal policy, monetary policy, understand a bit more about how our economy works. However, where it falls down is often economics, especially at places like LSE, Cambridge, they're just a signal if you're intending on entering investment banking. A lot of the knowledge and theory that you learn studying economics at university, you won't ever actually apply in a work setting. And so for investment banks, when they're looking at your application, just see that you've studied LSE, economics at LSE as a bit of a signal that you're intelligent rather than for the actual content itself. And on a similar note, you can actually learn, I find, a lot of the core concepts that the BSc in economics teaches you just through the internet these days, unless you really want to get like really into the nitty-gritty of mathematical models behind economic concepts. You can learn the actual theories or economic theories about, you know, how the government tries to get out of a recession or make sure that the economy doesn't overheat. You can learn all of those things just through YouTube videos these days. Now, if we can then move on to finance and how I got into finance, but generally the finance industry as well, as a bit of an overview. There are lots of different areas of finance, and I think there is a lot of uncertainty or a lot of ambiguity about finance for people who aren't really familiar with the industry. So I thought I'd start this introductory slide, just going through the different areas of finance. And know that this isn't like exhaustive. There are more areas of finance, but these are probably the ones that are most common or that you most commonly hear about. Now, starting off with investment banking, and I think this is probably the one that people have the biggest kind of misperception about. When people hear, when you say kind of investment banking, a lot of people associate that with the Wolf of Wall Street, stockbroking, buying companies, buying and selling shares, that sort of stuff. And investment banking is actually nothing like that. Investment banking is actually more of an advisory role. What you do as an investment banker is you assist large companies with their inorganic growth strategies. So it's things like whether they should buy another company, and at what price, and kind of doing the analysis on that, whether they should grow through debt or equity, what price they should issue their new shares at, that sort of thing. And so you're actually doing the analysis on like what price they should acquire a company for, and this sort of thing. And rather than actually buying and selling shares yourself, you're doing more of like a supporting, or you're taking more of a supporting role. And in terms of hours worked, investment bankers work very, very long hours, probably the longest in this entire list. You're probably getting in the office for 8:30 or 9 and then leaving no sooner than 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. But you are very well paid for it. An example of an investment bank, it's worth noting that you can work at an investment bank, but not necessarily be an investment banker. So an investment bank like Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley, they will have many of these departments within them, but there's only one specific department that is the actual investment banking division that does the stuff that I just mentioned. Another division within an investment bank is something called sales and trading. And that's kind of a bit more similar to what people actually envisage investment banking to be. It's where you're pitching ideas and opportunities to clients for investment opportunities, transactions, and then executing these transactions at the best possible price, trying to make markets and trying to get the best prices for your clients. That's effectively what sales and trading is. Now, then there's private equity and venture capital. And as I said before, I work within the private equity space. And what private equity effectively does is where you acquire normally privately listed companies. And what you do is you use a mix of your own money, but also debt, so bank loans effectively, to buy out this company. What you then do is you improve the company over a certain time frame, maybe 3 to 5 years or 5 to 10 years, depending on your investment approach. And then at the end of this holding period, like so after the end of this 10-year period, you'll sell the company having made it better and hopefully at a profit. So like it's kind of similar to people buying up an old derelict house, doing it up, making it nice and pretty, putting it on the market for rent for a few years and then eventually selling it. That's effectively what private equity is. And then venture capital is an offshoot of private equity, where you're basically making investments in early stage companies, hoping that they'll grow and therefore the value of your investment will grow with it. Then there's asset management and hedge funds, where you're creating kind of portfolios of securities to achieve certain objectives, whether that's a certain return profile or to minimize risk or investing in a certain area. That's effectively what asset management and hedge funds both do. The only thing being that hedge funds are pools of money probably invested by high net worth individuals. They are unregulated, and so they are a bit more risky, and they tend to target much higher returns than maybe asset managers do. And then finally, there's consulting, which isn't actually an area of finance per se, but it's quite a common area that a lot of people who study economics end up going into, especially if you've studied at quite an elite institution like your Cambridges, your Oxfords, your LSEs. Giving some examples of all these firms, private equity, you may have heard of places like Blackstone or KKR. Asset managers, maybe Fidelity and BlackRock are quite popular ones. And consulting, you may have heard, so there are the big four like PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, but there are even more what are considered kind of elite institutions, which are Bain, McKinsey, and the Boston Consulting Group. Now, in terms of the finance application timeline, in your first year of university, you apply for something called Spring Weeks, which are 1 week insight weeks where you basically go to the bank or the financial firm, learn more about what they do, the different divisions within the bank. And at the end of this week, having shadowed people, you are put into an assessment center where you're asked a bunch of questions to show that you have actually acquired some knowledge. And if you're successful, they'll offer you a position for their summer internship the next year. So as I say, the summer internship you take in between your second and third year of university. That's normally 8 to 10 weeks and it's paid. And you're actually paid pretty much the same salary on a pro rata basis as what an actual first year working at the company would be. And then finally, in your third year, if you're successful with your internship, then it's a similar process. You'll be offered a graduate role to come join the firm after you've graduated. But if you're unsuccessful with your summer internship, then you just apply for a graduate role to join a firm straight after finishing university. In terms of the requirements for this application, you need a good CV, a good cover letter. You will be required normally to take kind of numerical, verbal, reasoning, logical tests, and also do online recorded interviews. So that's basically normally known as a higher view. What that is it's a computer asking you a question, and then you get 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes to answer this question. And then you also have actual interviews over the phone or in person with people who already work at the bank or financial firm. In terms of my own personal timeline, I actually got 0 Spring Week offers, having done 15 or 16 applications, simply because I didn't know how competitive the process was, nor did I know what was really required of me from my application. So looking back, I applied with a 3-page CV, which is a big no-no. You want your CV to be 1 page. I didn't really research that much into investment banks. I kind of winged it using my existing kind of financial knowledge of, just the things that I read on The Economist and doing business studies and economics at A-level, and didn't realize just how much preparation was really required. And so it was no surprise that I got no applications in my, or no successful offers in my first year. But in my second year, I really knuckled down, did a lot of research into the different firms, learned my technicals, learned how to answer the questions, learned what the style and structure of applications would be like. And so I got 3 summer internship offers. I got to a few final rounds, but still with finance, it's very much a numbers game. So you've just got to do as many applications as possible. But I ended up getting offers for investment banking, strategy consulting, and infrastructure private equity. I ended up not taking the investment banking one because I realized that I didn't want to put in that many hours, no matter how well paid it is. Strategy consulting, I genuinely did consider for quite a long period of time. But I already kind of had a sense of what it might be, whereas infrastructure private equity sounds so foreign and abstract to me. But I just wanted to do the internship to see what it was like. And I ended up doing it and really enjoying it and converted the internship into a full-time offer. My advice for anyone applying or thinking of applying in the future would be, prior to interview, tailor your cover letter and your CV. Make sure the formatting is on point and what the banks are looking for. There are lists of higher view questions, competency questions, motivational questions. There are lists of all of these that you can find online. Find those lists, copy and paste it into a Word doc, and start making model solutions or model answers to these questions. You don't want to be rigid and learn them like a robot, but you want to have like a few bullet points, or remember the key bullet points that you want to refer to during your higher view. And then do practice tests before you sit the real thing, just so that you know what to expect. And then at the interview stage, learn your key technical questions, particularly if you're going for something like investment banking or private equity. Learn how to do valuations or what the basics of a valuation model would look like. Follow the FT, the Financial Times, for general news about macro trends and how the economy is performing, because they'll ask you to probably talk about that. And then research the company, know its strengths, know its recent activity in the market, understand the division, what it does, and how it makes money. And finally, I want to talk about my experiences investing. Now, I'm going to stress again that although I'm working at a financial firm, I do not have a crystal ball. I did make mistakes, and none of what I'm about to say should be construed as financial advice. This is just all my own opinion. So if we look at my investing journey so far, probably my first experiences in investing were as a 19-year-old during the COVID-19 pandemic. And what I did was I put money into individual stocks. Some of those stocks went up, some of them went down. I just did ones that I thought might do well. And others I did because they were recommended to me from other people, which you should never really do. You should do your own research, do your own due diligence before you decide to invest in a stock. I probably was about net zero, so I evened out on my gains and losses, or maybe might have made a very slight loss. It was a very uneducated way of investing. I did it more so for the experience, so I'm still grateful for it. But it does annoy me that I made zero profit in a period where the S&P 500, the American stock market, went on one of the craziest bull runs, and I think made a 50% return in that year, certain funds. So yeah, if I'd done it properly, I'd probably be in a lot better financial position than where I am now. So the second time I really started investing, I put money into ETFs and mutual funds. And so you should know that the first concept of investing from a financial perspective is this idea of diversification. You want to invest into lots and lots of stocks or assets at the same time, because then just if one stock goes wrong, you still have so many more assets invested that can kind of prop you up. And so you're less likely to be subject to intense amounts of volatility. And so the easiest way of doing that, rather than buying 500 individual stocks, is to just invest in something called an ETF or a mutual fund, where a company has basically invested into a bunch of stocks basically on your behalf in a vehicle, and you just invest directly into that vehicle. So because I was investing as a 19 or 20-year-old, again, I kind of chose the riskiest strategy possible, simply because for me, I don't really need access to that money in the short term. I'm more so invested or care about, getting lucky or rather making money in the long term, or making a large return in the long term. So I invested in quite risky portfolios of stocks and other securities. So although I did invest in the S&P 500, which is pretty much like bread and butter, very bog standard investment that most people invest into, I also invested into emerging market funds and small capital funds, which are a bit more risky. Right now, I kind of invested post August 2021, and since then the stock market's been doing quite badly, so I'm about minus 10%. But I'm hoping again in the long run that things improve. I placed all my money in a stocks and shares ISA, which is a tax-free investment vehicle. There are basically tax benefits in that when you take out the money from this ISA, you aren't taxed on anything you take out, so there's a benefit to that. Continuing my investment journey, I used the internship money that I earned last year to pay off my student loan. And this just made sense for me because I knew that as soon as I finished university, I would basically be entering the top tax bracket, like that 40% post 50K tax bracket. And so I knew that the way the student loans are set up in this country, I would very likely repay my student loan with a lot of interest. There's a very high rate of interest in the UK. Right now it's 6.3%. And so even if I paid off 5K at the end of the year, about £3,000 of interest would have accrued in that time period. So I would only be really paying down like maybe £2,000. So for me, it made sense to just aggressively pay down my student loan. And that's actually one of the things that I'm working towards right now. And then this isn't actually my investment strategy, but my parents have consistently contributed into a Help to Buy ISA for me. The Help to Buy ISA no longer exists. It's been replaced with a lifetime ISA, which in pretty much every conceivable way is better than a Help to Buy ISA. But basically what happens with a Help to Buy or lifetime ISA is that the government provides a 25% bonus on anything that you put in there upon the purchase of a residential property up to the maximum of 12K invested into the Help to Buy ISA. So if you put 12K in, 25% of that is 3K. So yeah, you get 15K. And that's pretty useful, but house prices have shot up. So we'll see just how useful it ends up being. And I've actually kind of really stopped caring about these traditional investments like the stock market or property investment, simply because for me, the return on investment, it's not actually that attractive in like 7% a year. For it to actually make you serious amounts of money, you have to have invested a lot of money upfront. So only like if you've invested like 100K, then yeah, you're making 7,000 a year. But if you've invested like 1,000, then what's that? Like £70. So it doesn't really mean anything until like 30 or 40 years when the interest has compounded over time. So instead, I'm more focused on moonshot projects. So I'm investing into businesses and myself, things that I think have a potential to kind of 10x the return or the money that I've invested. So the main example of that would probably be my new startup or my new side business called assure.uk. That's for anyone who's interested in more personal coaching for people who want some more additional support with GCSEs, A-levels, applying for university, applying to medicine, applying to enter the finance industry, anything that is quite competitive or difficult. I have a bunch of tutors. My team is available to support. And we also have a bunch of resources, so successful CVs, cover letters, and personal statements. But that end of that little cheeky plug. But I also do other things like YouTube. Again, that's, I think, as Daniel mentioned, it's not my main reason for starting YouTube. I like having the platform. I like educating people and helping people out. But it would also be, I would be lying if I said there isn't a monetary aspect of it. Right now, I don't meet the limits or requirements for monetization, but hopefully I'm making quite good progress with my YouTube. And hopefully in the near future, I'll be able to monetize it and make some money that I can then reinvest again into this business and myself. But I'm also always looking out for other ventures to invest into that I think have lots of potential. So for anyone listening, if you do have some amazing business idea that I think is going to make us into billionaires, I'm all ears, always willing to listen. But that really concludes the end of my presentation on my pathway into LSE, economics, finance industry, and investing. I'm really happy to take any questions. So yeah.
Thank you, Aravind, for your excellent presentation. That was really inspiring, and I hope the students who are aspiring to become an economist found it very useful. We got questions from the audience now. The first question is, what if you haven't done any work experience yet and you're in year 11?
So in what year?
Year 11.
I'd actually say that prior to university work experience, it's not a necessity. I think it does help with your personal statement. Probably your work experience that you acquire before university, it does help with your personal statement because it gives you something to talk to. You can show that you've been interested in the subject or have been excited or eager to get kind of real life practical experience, but it's not a necessity. Loads of people end up going to LSE, Cambridge, Oxford, having done no work experience. You just tailor your personal statement on different things. So for example, instead of work experience, you might want to talk about books you've read, any other projects that you might have done, your EPQ, like a blog you might be writing. There are so many other things that you can talk about in your personal statement besides work experience. I think after university, it's a different story and you want to try gain work experience as quickly as possible. But prior to that, it's not a big deal. And you're still only in year 11, like you have plenty of time to acquire work experience, even if you did want to. I would say, I'll caveat that by saying that work experience isn't this like necessary for economics or entering the finance industry, but I do think it's a bit different for if you want to enter medicine or something like that, where you're meant to show enthusiasm and have participated in volunteering in care homes and things. But if it's for economics or finance or anything like that, work experience or not a lack of work experience isn't the end of the world.
Okay, so the next question comes from Dinesh Bhaskaran.
Yeah.
How do we get work experience in London Stock Exchange or any other industry at year 9 or 10?
So when you're in year 9, year 10, there aren't that many kind of applications, like structured applications available. So it's more so through word of mouth. You just got to ask your parents and tell them, I'm interested in a certain thing. And hopefully they might know people. And it's really that kind of 6 degrees of separation is a concept that I quite enjoy, which is the idea that, people know people who know people. And so eventually you'll find there'll be some like distant connection who might be willing to help you out. But there are also other ways. You can literally cold call, email people at certain firms, especially like smaller firms. They tend to be a lot more receptive towards helping people, especially if it's just for free, like they're not paying you and you're just shadowing. They're normally quite receptive. So just you can Google search like kind of firms in the specific area that you're interested in. So maybe accountancy, maybe lawyers, whatever. Just find out and Google search accountants in my area. You can email them and then just write an email out to someone saying, this is my name. This is my position. Like I'm in year 9 or year 10. I'm really interested in accountancy or law as potential future career. I'd be really grateful if you'd be willing to provide me with 1 week's work experience. Here is my CV for your perusal. And if you just send an email like that and just send it to as many people as possible, hopefully someone will say yes. And so that's probably the 2 best ways I'd recommend of trying to get work experience at such a young age. Or the alternative route is you be creative and you try to be an entrepreneur at a young age and try start something yourself, and you can talk about that if all fails. But yeah, those are probably 3 great ways of getting work experience at quite a young age.
Okay, the next question comes from Vignesh Naveen. I haven't picked up further maths, but plan on doing AS level further maths at the end of year 12. Will that be my choices of universities?
Yeah, AS further maths should be fine because some schools don't actually offer the full A level. They're only able to offer to AS. And so AS further maths should be absolutely fine. I know that it's fine for LSE because one of my really, really close friends, he didn't take further maths to begin with. He took AS further maths in year 13 and did well in that. He got an A in AS further maths, and that was enough for him to get admission into LSE. So taking an AS in further maths is absolutely fine, or should be.
Okay, the next question comes from Kabi. How much of help have you had from your father in your career growth?
Yeah, my father's definitely been a massive source of inspiration, help for me. He's been the one, arguably been the one who's pushed me the most to gain work experience when I was younger. And at the time, I resented him for it because I thought it was a massive waste of time. But in hindsight, it was so beneficial. And he always kind of holds me accountable and makes sure that I'm really trying to achieve to my greatest possibility and really achieve my potential. So I really can't thank him enough for that. He's in the corner here just smiling away, but massive props to him.
Yeah, the next question comes from Balaji Varadan. Do you think school plays an important role, or can motivated kids succeed in any school?
I mean, school definitely does play a role. If we're being honest about it, having a good set of teachers who are willing to support you and help you is really invaluable. And that's what I really benefited from Lawrence Sheriff, being in a really good supportive environment. But that being said, it's possible to, if you're determined enough to succeed, it's possible to succeed regardless of your environment. And if we're especially looking at from the viewpoint of university admissions, universities have, they look at your application quite holistically. They look at your background. They look at the kind of quality of school you're going to, even like the area that you're living in. And so they will make your application based on your potential. So even if you might not have necessarily gotten all A stars, if you've done well in your cohort relative to how the school on average performs, you are still very likely to gain admission or get an offer, because the university has seen that you've excelled even in quite a difficult environment. And so it's definitely possible if you put in the hard work, find alternative routes to succeed. You might have to put in a bit more work if you're in a bit more of a difficult environment. But if you're really determined to do it, I think anything is possible.
Okay, so the next question is from Vignesh Navi. How would you improve on essay writing skills for economics?
So what I used to do was, it might have changed, but there used to be 20 or 25 markers for economics. And the school basically created a list of potential questions that could come up as a 20 or 25 marker. And what I used to do was I would go through this list and draft an essay or write up an essay on every single one of these questions. And after writing up the essay, I would go and submit it to my teacher, get feedback on it, tell him to get me a mark, tell him to review it, tell me where I could improve. After taking on that advice, I'd then do another essay and then try improve over time again and again and again. I think with essay writing, the first step is one, knowing the content so that you're confident enough to write and know what to write about. But the second is actually improving the technique of your essays, and that will only come with practice. So I guess it's twofold. First is knowing the subject syllabus really well. And second is developing that ability to write in a limited period of time and quite well and express your ideas in an articulated manner. And that all comes with studying and just putting in the hard work and effort and just iteratively getting better through lots and lots of practice.
Yeah, the next question, does extracurricular activities put you at disadvantage in any good universities or getting job offers?
At a disadvantage or an advantage?
At disadvantage in getting good universities or getting good jobs?
I'd never see why an extracurricular could put you at a disadvantage unless you were so focused on said extracurricular that you weren't putting enough time into your actual studies. I think as long as you balance your time effectively so that you're still able to put in the adequate and sufficient time in towards your studies, I don't think there's anything wrong with having an extracurricular. And if anything, having extracurriculars will probably do you good, because as I say, it's a great way of kind of de-stressing, taking some time out away from studying. And it just means that you're fresh in your mind and body when you actually go back to studying, because you've at least taken a break and you're not just studying nonstop. You have something to look forward to. And just having that break will probably mean that studying is more sustainable in the long term. So I'd probably say that if anything, extracurriculars will put you at an advantage, because imagine if a university is comparing two like-for-like candidates, but one of them's also really well-rounded in terms of lots of extracurriculars, then I'd say if they're pretty much even in every other category, but someone has extracurriculars, then you're probably more likely to go with someone who's done the extracurriculars, because it shows that they've been able to study effectively even whilst having other things on the side.
So the next question is, I didn't do extremely well in my GCSE English language and did not meet the entry requirements, but having 8 or 9 in every other subject, will that affect my chances to get into top universities?
So it's pretty difficult to say, right? So it just depends on kind of, unfortunately, how low or how high of a mark you got in English, because some universities do quite literally have we will only accept people who achieve a 6 or higher in English literature or language. So if you've done at least well in one of the two, then hopefully it's okay. But generally, as long as you've kind of achieved higher than a 6, then if your degree is fairly unrelated to English, like economics is largely a mathematics-based course. So hopefully English won't play that big of a role in it. But obviously I'm not like an admissions person. Like I've never actually worked within the admissions department. So it's pretty hard for me to really say definitively. I can only really speculate.
Okay, so the next question is, how do you balance time for schoolwork, like is doing every question in the maths book time efficient manner?
So yeah, in terms of balancing time or managing time effectively, I'd suggest we'll have the recording of the previous talk, but I was really regimented with how I manage my time in terms of to-do lists and timetables and things like that. Yeah, there were probably better ways of managing my time, especially with maths. I know some people who kind of did a mix of the easy and hard questions and the medium questions and just got a taste of all of them. So that rather than doing every single question, just so that they were comfortable enough to do all the general types of questions. I was just particularly stubborn or particularly determined to do every single question, just because I didn't want to run the risk of missing out a question that was particularly difficult.
Okay, so what is your plan in 5 years from now?
I think it's pretty difficult to say for now. I've only just joined the financial industry, so we'll have to say. Right now, I'm really enjoying my work within the financial industry, so I'd probably like to continue that for now. But I always keep my options open, and so I guess we'll only be able to see in 5 years.
Okay, so what do you think about? Sorry.
I think there's just another. I think we've overrun slightly, right? So
yeah, I can actually just got one more.
Okay. Okay, brilliant.
Last question. What do you think about BA Economics?
BA Economics depends. If it's from Oxford, brilliant, because everything from Oxford is a BA. Besides that, I'd kind of stay away from BAs because they're not that quantitative in nature. And probably the best parts of an econ degree is probably the mathematical skills that you pick up. You can take a BA. I'm not really that well versed, but generally the top institutions tend to offer BScs rather than BAs, with the exception of Oxford, which offers BAs for a historical reason.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you very much, Aravind, for your very well planned, executed presentation and the talk, and hope everyone found it very useful. And thank you for the Rice Foundation for arranging this very excellent talks like this, and we welcome talks like this in the future as well. Thank you very much indeed, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Could I hand over to Dr. Rupa Jairaj?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Rice Foundation, for this 24-hour webinar. This is the third year running. And thank you so much. It's been an excellent afternoon and evening of talks. And now we move on to a completely different topic, Tamil language. So I'm here to introduce you Dr. Gomathi Magabandhu, my very good friend and classmate. So I know her for 30 years. She is a consultant pediatrician and diabetes endocrine consultant at the Kettering General Hospital. She is associate medical director and at Kettering General Hospital, and that involves a lot of work. She's the lead for diabetes at the East Midlands network. She's the network chair. And other than this, so this is her professional, other than this as her hobby, as her passion, she is the founder of Iniya Thinnai, which is an online platform which promotes Tamil culture, heritage, and literary works. And she's been doing it kind of single-handedly for the past 2 years during the COVID lockdown. And she has interviewed so many people, talked about so many various topics on Tamil. So she's very passionate about Tamil. I know she's a very good speaker. So I'm handing over to Gomathi, who's going to talk about Tamil. It's just more than a language. We're really looking forward to hear from you, Gomes. Over to you.
Thank you, Rupa, for that kind introduction. Thank you to Prem for organizing this marathon kind of event, which is brilliant, actually. And Tamil, the journey with Tamil has been quite some time for me. And I feel that it's more than just a language. Tamil is the only language, actually, which is personified as Thai or mother. And there is a temple in Karaikudi. And there is a temple for Agasthyar, who was one of the oldest sages who had written the grammar for Tamil. Tamil is also part of the UNESCO Memory of the World Register. And the legend is that God, Shiva and Murugan himself created the language. And it's a language that has been unbroken and developed over 20 centuries. The meaning itself can be considered as beautiful, sweet, and natural. Everybody would have heard about Yadum Ure, Yavarum Kelir. The second line, I'm not sure if everybody's heard about it, Thidum Nandrum Pirar Taravara. The uniqueness of the language is the language of civilization 5,000 years ago. It goes through science, social science, mathematics, visual exploration, nature, music, drama, painting, fiction, architecture, civilization, endless realm of facets. So it says every city is your own city and everyone is your own kin. Whether it's failure or prosperity, it doesn't come to you because others sent it to them. It's because of your own making, really. If you look at the power of the language itself, you must have heard Kal tondri man tondra kalatte mun tondriya mutta mori Tamil. Tamil is a language that originated before the rocks and the earths were formed. And that is how we proud Tamilians tell to the whole world. It is one of the oldest languages spoken in the world. And it's not just spoken, it's the oldest language with written script as well. I think if you talk to a man in a language that he understands, that is great. But if it goes to that only goes to his head, really. But if you talk to him with the language that he is, it goes to his heart. And this is what Nelson Mandela said as well. Tamil has really survived wars, natural disasters, invasions, and other language intrusions, and many, many more obstacles. It has a myriad array of contributions to art and literature in the form of temples, sculptures, poems, martial art, and a lot more. It is a belief, culture, music, literature, and it's the last surviving classical civilization in the world because we Tamilians have persisted substantial elements of our past. We still teach our kids the language. Anyone with a decent Tamil knowledge can give you the meaning of Thirukkural by his own. And Tamil is one of the world's unbroken culture. BBC has a Tamil broadcasting over 50 years. China has its own radio in Tamil since 1963, and Canada announced the Tamil Heritage Month in January. Tamil itself has got the status of the classical language as well in 2004. There has been some excellent work done by Hart in Berkeley, California, showing the antiquity, the indigenous nature, the quality, and the independence with structured examples. The prime feature of Tamil is that it's not derived from any other language. Tamil itself ranks 17th in the world languages, and it has got 3 different kind of variables with time: the old Tamil, the middle Tamil, and modern Tamil. But some people look at it as 5 different structures: old, medieval, old and modern, modern literary, and the spoken Tamil as well. Pre-Tamil is a whole new facet, really. It's spoken in many countries other than Tamil Nadu. It's also spoken in Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Singapore, Maldives, Seychelles, Fiji, and it's endless number of countries as well. The oldest Sangam literature dates back to 330 BC to 300 AD. Tamil is the only language to have a separate community named as Mudal Tamil Sangam and truly ruled by kings, 89 kings over 44,000 years ago. And this is what Hart says about the language, the status of Tamil actually. To deny the Tamil as a classical language is to deny a vital and a central part of the greatness and richness of the Indian culture. The language itself, this will be the only slide about the language, I guess. Language itself has got 12 vowels called Uyirelutthu and 18 consonants of Meyyeluthu. Uyir means, life, and Mey is body. And together, Uyirmai, body and soul, they form 216 compound characters. And there's one special character. Altogether, it forms about 247 characters. And if you look at the way the tongue curls with the different las, la, 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 and ra, I remember in the Tamil classes, the Tamil teacher used to use the film actresses those days to help with the pronunciation. He would say, Vai Jayanti Mala is just the tip of your teeth, actually. Manjula goes to the middle of your palate. If it's Param, it's all the way curled in inside. The language has survived through the Pandyas, and Sangams had acted as universities in terms of educational purposes and storing the literature works. They built huge temples with walls as their scriptures, capturing history over thousands of years. The first dictionary in Indian language was a Tamil lexicon as well from Madras University. But the script itself is from the primitive Brahmi script, and then it's the Vatteluthu or the round script. The similarities of the script from the Indus Valley civilization and from the excavations in the south of Tamil Nadu are very similar as well. And you can look at the Tanjavur temple inscriptions. It's called as Meykirti. Meykirti means inscriptions were true reflections of events. At the bottom left, you can see the Leiden plate. It's a copper plate held in the Netherlands, wherein it chronicles the social administrative systems of the Chola kingdom, like the councils, the water resource management, irrigational resources. The navigational prowess of charting of the sea turtle movement from South India to Andaman and Sumatra is also documented. During the Rajendra Chola period, the Bay of Bengal was called the Chola Pond. And the Chola kings were not colonizers and settlers, only the trading communities settled there, unlike the Western conquistadors. It chronicled every commoner, not just the aristocrats. The Chola princesses had their own finances managed and inherited, and they could give it away to the wider community. The royalty was so magnificent, they kind of gave away their wealth for charitable causes. You must have known from this Ponniyin Selvan as well, Kundavai Nachiyar gave away her inheritance to build hospitals to care for the poor and the needy. And that was called the Adura Sale. And it's only fitting tribute to her that the maternity and children's hospital in Tanjavur is named after Kundavai Nachiyar Government Maternity Hospital. There is evidence that women have been administrators, warriors, called Adhigarachi. Unfortunately, we went through a cycle when women were pushed back with the flames into the kitchenettes. It took a while for Bharati to come around to get them out. The Leiden document spells out in great detail the legal tenets, the fiscal stipulations, and bureaucratic machinery involved in the assessment and executions of deeds and drawn and executed in the 11th century. This deed is impressive in its thoroughness and precision. The Western world are in awe about the detail of such inscriptions. The biggest thing close to my heart is that it chronicles every commoner. Every single person that contributed to the temple is archived on those scriptures in the temple in Tanjavur. If you go into the Sangam periods, there was the first and second Sangam, Mudal and Idai Changam, in the respective cities of Madurai. The antiquities ranged over 10,000 BC. The literature kind of triangulates with the history timeline with Silapadikaram and Manimeghalai, such as literary works, which is described the city of the Puhar, which was submerged or lost during the time. The first Mudal Changam and the second Tamil Sangam, the first one in Madurai and the second Tamil Sangam was in Kavadapuram, which was established with the Pandya kings. The third Tamil Sangam is in the present day Madurai. They go through traditions of life as well. Tamil as a language is one of the only languages where the grammar was first written down as to how words should be. It dates back to 2nd century BC to the 15th century AD. It was written by Tolkapiyar, who is the disciple of Agastya, who wrote Agatyam, which is even more undecipherable in terms of the grammar itself. If you look at the Sangams, Ramanujam says that they are not just literature works. Nothing is equal to the quiet and dramatic Tamil poems in their values and stances. They represent a mature classical poetry. Passion is balanced by courtesy, transparency by ironies and nuances of design, impersonality by vivid detail, austerity of line by richness of implications. Anthologies called odes or Irangal Pattu, ideals not just for kings and gods, but for really simple people, and written in a really masterful style. The poets themselves were literary critics and censors. The poetry was divided into two, Agam and Puram. Agam means love life, Puram means work, war, and social interactions. Tirukkural had three different parts, Aram, Porul, and Inbam. Then the next thing was the 4 lines, the Naladiyar, the Venba style. The Paramuri came by Munurayadiyar as morals by Proverbs. And then came the Jainism and the Buddhism influence, Silapadigaram, which was written by Ilango Adigal, Manimeghalai by Satanar in the Common Era. Jivaka Chintamani and Valayapatti and Kundalakesi are also popular ones. The last two were lost. The end of the Sangam age saw the differences of Shaivism and Vaishnavism as well. The tradesmen those days were very rich as the royalty. If you have heard about the story of Silapadigaram, Kannagi Silambu had diamonds, whereas the queen's one had the pearls. It helped to prove her husband's case in the court of justice, which forms the basic story of Silapadigaram. One size does not fit all. If you look at the landscapes of Tamil Nadu, it falls into 5 main areas: Kurinji, the hillside; Neidal, the seaside; Palai, the deserts; Marudam, the agricultural plains; and Mullai, the forest lands. They not only have different types of landscapes, different type of moods, flowers, time, season, animals, crops and plants, in terms of the water, resources, soil, occupation, and gods. So it forms a whole set of cultural systems stratified across those 5 domains in terms of landscapes, and the poetry goes through all of them. So I'm going to give you a bit of a break. I'm hoping you could see this song. It says video unavailable. I'm hoping you can see this. Oh dear. So I thought I could do it. I don't think it's going to work. If you just give me a second, I will unshare and share it again. Okay. I don't know if you've seen this song. If any suggestions as what it could be? So this is also in the YouTube, in the stations as well. If I just unshare it again, and if I come to this. So I'm not sure if you've seen this Tamil poetry on the YouTube. It goes through a poetry about a love life from Sangam literature called Kurundugai. It beautifully describes love as feeling, which comes out naturally. A man falling in love with a woman, one soul like the rain mixing with the red earth. Rain has no relationship to the earth. And this clearly shows that 2000 years ago, there were enough love marriages in vogue described as Kalavu Manam and Kadal Manam. And this was surprisingly a beautiful kind of sight in the London YouTube, which which if you've not seen, please do look out for it. We then have the influences into the Tamil literature. Tamil culture has seen both tolerance and religious extremism from the post-Sangam era. Christianity influences came into India from one form of apostles, Thomas, which people debate as a myth, but South India was a great trading post for spices and pearls for the gold and wine from the West. The Musiri papyrus goes through the amphoras in the excavation sites which were found in Greece and in the Roman empires as well, which are huge cabins which store wine, which was also found along the excavation sites in the West Coast near Cochin. The amphoras are in the era of the Greek culture. This is cited actually in the Agananuru songs, where the friend says, your father is protecting the love-longed heroine, preventing her from seeing her beloved lover, just like how the father protects his wine in those big amphoras securely. It is unimaginable how this archaeology, literature, and history can be triangulated to date the Sangam literature. Then there was the G.U. Pope who came in. He translated the Thirukural. The Kural comprises of the introduction, notes, translation, grammar, and concordance, and the lexicon itself. He does the Naladiyar, but the translation of Thiruvasakam was the artistic magnum opus that was published. There was also the Islamic influence when Marakala Nayakar traded with the Arabs well before the invading tradesmen of Persia and Afghanistan, who later colonized India. Towards the 18th and 19th century, the political scene changed with cultural shakeup with Western influences as well. If you look at the purity of Tamil, Adigal goes through the purity of Tamil, but it was Mahakavi Bharadiyar who broke through the somewhat rigid style of Tamil poetry writing, followed into a more kind of Pudu Kavidai style, deviant from Tolkapiyar style of grammar. Then following him, the novel genre came in through Mayuram Vedanayakam, and then came the periodicals, first started by the Tamil Magazine Group at 1832 by the Christian Religious Tract Society. And then came the Dinatandi, everybody knows about Dinatandi. The magazine came in 1920, and then came the Kalki and Chandilian novels, which many of us would have read about, and followed by crime and fiction. Then I'm going to take you, I'm sure you must have seen this song. I'm not sure if this is going to play or not. I'm just going to skip this. I'm not sure if you've seen a song in this movie where they use a two words together. It is called Rettai Kilavi or Adukuttodar. We call it Adukuttodar. We sometimes say, we use two syllables which are used together. Together they make a difference. Separately, they don't mean anything at all. Like gaba gaba and pasikida, that means I'm really hungry. Like gilu gilu, something really, really ticklish actually. Mada mada means very, very fast. Kisu kisu means, it's talking very softly as well. But there are lots of Tamil songs that go with it as well. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. Anybody wanting to go for a guess of any Tamil songs that go with this? With the Rettai Kilavi kind of words. Have you heard about Taga Taga Tagavana Rettai Kilavi Undallo Tamilil Undallo Any other people, anybody else who can kind of comment about any other words that use in Tamil songs? There's lots of ones actually. Kind of thing. And there's another one as well, which I really like. Sara 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 kaathu adikkum bodum sara paathu pesum bodum sara 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 paambu pola nenjam sattam podudhe. So really, Tamil music in Tamil movies have used this rettakilavi or adukkuthodar as well. Coming to the metallurgy part, contributions to the world. I'm not sure if you've heard about the Damascus steel, which the Arabian tradesmen took to Europe and hence was called the Damascus steel. There's not a single museum in the world that does not have this Chola bronze statues, which is made up of wax model, the kind of lost wax model, some plundered that are returning to India. Thanks to the great work of friends like Vijay, he's written a wonderful book called Idol Thief about how the statues are being returned back to India. So the metallurgy and alchemy and craftsmanship in terms of bronze statues originated from Tamilians as well. Then we have the temple murtis, which has multiple alchemies, like the Palani temple, which was created by Bogar. Bogar is a very known sage. He used 9 poisonous chemicals called Navapashana to create the idol. He also supposedly has created a concoction for immortality. Temples had this concentrated multiple metals, which produces positive iconic waves that makes you feel refreshed and kind of safe in that place of worship. Likewise, they also used to put seeds in the kalasams on the top of the gopurams of those temples. So if there is a flood or famine, they still did not lose out their livelihood for the next year's crop. The architectural wonders of the Pallava and Chola kingdom, anybody visited Mahabalipuram, you would see the shore temples, the Pancha Pandava Ratha, the Arjuna's penance, where the poetry is in stone, inspirations for the magnificent Chola granite temples 300 years down the line. All of these are listed as World Heritage Sites by UNESCO. The immortal lords should have abodes, and that should remain with time. This was the principle of the Tamil kings, those kind of who lived through all the 3 Tamil Sangams. And they felt that the residences of the kings and queens of lesser mortals like them does not have to remain with time. And hence you see tall gopurams of temples in Tamil Nadu denoting the immortal lordships. Has anybody visited the Tanjavur temple? You might have seen the beautiful architecture. The architecture itself, it kind of gives you an idea to the size or the magnificence of the sculptures themselves. We go down to the Leaning Tower of Pisa or look at the Sphinx, and we're also kind of wondering how magnificent they are, but you have to visit the Tamil temples to see how they might have built a granite temple in a place that doesn't have any local mountains. What was possible with such craftsmanship and such amount of hard work that has gone into the architectural style. If you look at this particular picture, you can see the elephant is on top of the, Yari is on top of the elephant, and the Dwara Balagurgal or the gatekeepers are on top of the Yari. It just tells you how mighty the big lord is in terms of the context of the size itself, and they've used the sculptures to demonstrate the size itself. The temple itself represents 3 forms of Shiva. When I say Shiva, you must have heard about this phrase, Tennadu Udaya Sivane Potri, which means the Lord of my country, South India, long live him. For me, you are Shiva. For everybody else, you are God. This I heard from one of our speakers on Inayathinnai, which was Father Jagat Kasper, who shared his thoughts around this with us. He is our dear God. We call him Shiva, and the rest of the world calls in various names, which is very kind of similar in various religions. The stone form of Linga is the God, and then there is the Aruba Lingam, the inner structure. The hollow viscous inside the whole Vimana or Gopuram is the Akasa Lingam. showing God in his form and his formless wonder as well. If you go into the aspects of medicine, health, well-being, we have Siddhars. Siddhars are known to even live now in some of the caves of South India. Siddha medicine uses herbs and genetic extracts. The contribution to medicine is kind of humongous. If you look at Ayurveda, naturopathy as well, they have even worked out there are 7,200 nerve centers, 7 cranial kind of centers, central nerve centers, 96 kind of body features. You know, they go through 12 organic products and multiple animal and vegetable products as well in terms of cures for multiple diseases. We talk about marachek or natural tree grind oil, which again was a very popularly kind of used method of extracting natural oil those days. And Jallikattu was more around the native breeds to get A2 milk. You must have heard about Hanuman as well. When Lakshmana get hurt, so Hanuman leaps out northward to get the Sanjeeva hills to bring the herbs. Purananuru has several kind of scenes with excellent trauma management in terms of war scenes. And they also talk about suturing techniques. The efficacy of the treatment is so vouched by the scars actually, which are bright and shiny scars of the Chera king, which adds charm to them. And when the wound soldiers are brought into the tents, they have a model of therapies offered to them, medical and surgical therapies. They talk about supplementary therapies in terms of lice, incense and cologne, preventive measures in terms of disinfectants, and mental regeneration as well in terms of music and support. It is not an exaggeration if only the tent could be ranked a place of trauma care, disaster handling, rehabilitative support, and also create an acute emergency management as well. In the Chola Kingdom period, there was Vedaranyam. It exists even today, where mental health institutions existed to heal people who are affected by mental illnesses. You could see in the pictures on the right side as sculptures in the temples, actually, of fertilization of an embryo of a sperm and the ovum, of cardiopulmonary resuscitation, the different stages of pregnancy in terms of months in the mother's womb. It's an 800-year-old sculpture in the womb, actually, from Sundara Kamakshi temple in Chinnakarumbur. And the CPR was really fascinating for me alongside. And I cannot believe how much intelligent the Tamil civilization was in those times. It is not just medicine. If you come to the finances, we just heard from Aravind about the financial system. It is noteworthy to see that the numerical system went through multiple steps, actually. Multiple steps that becomes almost uncountable. The units of measurements, again, was also kind of very much existent. The Ulagalandan code was a standard measure used to measure, to survey or measure land in the Chola times. The wealth of the nation was so much that, you know, they must be wearing such expensive earrings. They used to use their earrings to shoo away the birds that were eating their grains, actually. So they were so wealthy. If you look at martial arts, the Pallava kings who became Bodhidharma went on to China to do or learn or teach Kung Fu as well. We also have different forms of Tamil, Iyal, Isai, and Nadaga Tamil. Iyal, we've talked about it a lot about Sangam literature. Starting from Parai, Isai goes all the way to Yar, Yekkalam, Nadeshwaram, and endless creativity in terms of use of instruments, thread instruments, wind instruments. It's endless and it's beyond the scope of this hour. Nadagam, again, plays and kuthu and dance forms of storytelling has been an ancient vocal, verbal tradition of all temple festivities. I'm not sure how many of you have seen the kuthu. I was so fortunate to see one even in Canada during the Murugan festival time there, which was fantastic. Let's not forget the Lord of the Dance, Nataraja, and Bharatanatyam is a Tamil art form as well. Tanjavur temple houses the 108 karnas. Obviously, a few are unfinished and is in various sculptural forms around the temples of India, which you might have heard about. And then the fun things comes, the festivities. Tamilians do not need a time for festivities. We love festivities. We have harvest festival, thanking the god for the rains, Indravila. We have the Pongal, which is again a harvest festival. When rivers are in full spate, we call it Adiperukku. Veeranam Dam is an architectural wonder. When enemy forces were invading the Chola kingdom, the eldest son of Parantaka I was sent to defend the northern borders. Whilst he was waiting for the enemies to attack, he was quite concerned that his soldiers will be lazy. He also saw the abundance of water wasting into the Bay of Bengal from the river Kaveri. So he decided to build a huge reservoir, that is 16 kilometers long dam with 74 openings called Maduka in northern Tamil Nadu. And today it is supplying water to the big city of Madras or Chennai. Kalki claims that Saint Ramanuja, who spread modern day Vaishnavism, was inspired by those Maduga or the openings and called or created the Simha Senadipadigal to spread Vaishnavism, which is very interesting. The next bit is about archaeology. If you go into archaeology, I was really thrilled to read the book of Balakrishnan, which was really interesting, from Indus Valley Civilization, and also the Tamil Dravidian foundations as well. If you look at the excavations from South India, from Pattanam, or Adi Chennalur, which is along the banks of Tamarabarani, which dates back to the Sangam literature period as well, which shows a lot of pottery, burial urns, and it has been a mining center for iron and copper. Then we have Kirdi along the banks of Vaigai, which again shows a lot of archaeological evidence in terms of elaborate brick structures, assemblages, ornaments, terracotta channels, paved brick floors, roof tiles, amazing structure of the city itself. Lack of evidence through written sources, oral history disappearing with time can cause a black hole to our past. Legends have passed through many generations and it can change as well. But we can triangulate literature, history, and archaeology to provide the timeline of the Tamil civilization. Korkai, Tondi are ports of the Pandyas, and Vanji, the capital of Chera kings as well, which is kind of similar names between the Indus Valley and the civilizations that have been excavated in the South Tamil Nadu. So the proposition is that the Indus Valley people have migrated down along the west coast. When they moved down, they carried their familiar names with them to their new settlements, with evidence in the epigraphy of the Sangam literature, or the Indus to the Tamilagam culture, the organic relationship with them to try and bridge the gap of darkness of the Dravidian race, or to the Dravidian race. So Balakrishnan uses literature, archaeological, and epigraphical evidences throughout his book. He also kind of has a very bold concept of the pot route, or the pottery concept itself, that connects both the civilization, and he shows a trail along the west coast. It also depicts advanced urban character, technological excellence, and also trans-ocean exchanges are captured in the Sangam age, is depicted in those archaeological maps. Just a picture of all the variety of things that were found. You can see it was also the burial ground with hundreds of skeletons. They had multiple ornaments, lovely ornaments, I should say. Huge pottery. These are the amphoras, the big pottery, as big as the human being itself. The big urns, or the death urns, where the burial urns were there. And on the right top corner, you can see the iron, the Damascus steel, which is called ekku as well, which comes from Tamil Nadu. They shape them into various kind of war kind of equipments, and also use them as ornaments at the bottom right corner. And you can see these are little plates that were on the foreheads of the people who died. Not just this, you can see that the script, the Indus Valley script, and the script from Kirdi were very similar, showing the resemblance or the relationship between the two civilizations. On the right side, you can see games of dice, which was played. Actually, the chess Olympiad brought attention to the chess temple. There's a temple for chess, actually. It's called the Chaduranga Vallabhanadar Koil in Tirupavanur. The legend is Shiva defeated the princess in the game of chess and married Princess Rajarajeshwari, who's a reincarnation of Parvati. And there was the coins that you can see right of this slide is the chess pieces. The structural engineering, you can see how the bricks are laid at the bottom bit. In the right corner shows you the beads that were used in terms of weaving and sewing as well, which just shows the richness of the culture and civilizational advances that were made. Let's then move on to astronomy. With astronomy, they only talk about the 5 planets. The 5 planets, it's because the other 3 were not visible, I guess, to the naked eye. We worshipped the sun and the moon. Rahu and Ketu are the intersection points. So the moon path around the sun, around the earth, and the earth around the sun was plotted. They had to introduce or account to the influence of innumerable stars and celestial objects on earth. And I just want to quote a poetry from Silvanath Trippadai, which goes through how people eat. When people eat, they fill small pots of multiple different dishes, which is kept around the plate. And you know how it looks? It looks like the sun in the center, surrounded by the planets. And that's how they explain in that poetry. The point is that the Tamils not only had an ancient civilization, they were also aware of the heliocentric theory of the planetary system. But the Greeks were the only ones who made science out of it. If you look at the Purananuru song, you don't have to know the song, but you can see how the Tamil script runs. This Purananuru song, which is dated to 300 to 240 BC, says about how the sun, which makes the planets orbit around it. And it also says about the empty spaces or the dark matter and the direction of changing winds as well. Thiruvasagam quotes it that by lust bewildered in this earthly sphere, caught in this encircling sea of joyous life, and that the earth was round about 2000 years ago. Let's move from astrology to astronomy as well. Astronomy to astrology as well. If you see there are the 9 grahas, we see the huge influence of Sanskrit now. We talk about the 9 grahas here. And then the stars, the 27 stars, the 12 months, and the rasis were also kind of with the Sanskrit influence as well. I'm not sure if anybody heard about Nadi Joshyam. It's at the Vaidishwaran Koil, Agastya Nadi. It's called Agastya Nadi. In fact, I took it as a joke and I went there, and it was so unbelievably true as to who I would get married to. And I cannot believe it's entirely true. And I cannot believe how somebody could write it that many thousands of years ago. It was completely astonishing. And they even told me that you have come here just to test if this works for you. And I was really kind of gobsmacked, I should say. Sahadevan was a great astrologer. So Duryodhanan went and asked Sahadevan, even if he was his opponent, as to find a suitable date or when he could sacrifice for the war itself. And Sahadevan obliged, because it was duty as an astrologer to do the right thing. With the mystics of astrology, they could talk about the zodiac signs. The Tamils also worshipped the Saptarishis, the 7 stars, the Arundhati, the pole star. They knew about the comets. They felt that the comets bring around evil, actually. There was a connection between the Venus and the rains as well, which was seen in many Sangam verses. There was this line in Nedunal Vada, which talks about, by Nakira as well, which talks about the celestial positions. Sangam literature did not hesitate to use the Sanskrit words as well, and some of them were Tamilized. He used the words like Panguni, Udichai, Prachay, and kind of thing. So they never hesitated to use Sanskrit words in the Tamil literature as well. And there were pure Tamil stars as well that were named in the Sangam period, which was quite amazing. Next, coming to the atom or the astrophysics. Anu alavu tulai kadalai pagatti, which means intersecting an atom and injecting 7C of knowledge and again stitching it back. How unbelievable is that, to intersect an atom? Anuvai thulaithe kadalai pugatti kurukkarinda kural. So they talk about the magnificence of the Tirukkural, that it is so short, as small as the atom, but if you intersect it, it's the knowledge of the 7 Cs. It's put back into just those 2 lines. But what comes out of it is that they had a knowledge of what an atom was, or an anu was. Anu means not an atom, which was quite fascinating. Then if you go into relationships, we were great lovers of relationships as well. And they go through relationships into multiple generations. So we are the first generation, parents, and then you have the part and party as well. And then you have put and putti, ot and oti. So it goes for 7 generations. When we bless somebody, so we bless them that they live well for all the 7 generations. So each generation, they calculate about 60 years. So for 7 generations, it's about 480 years. E means 2 times 7, which is about 960 years. Almost 1,000 years we can take it. So when we say parambara parambarayaga, which means thousands of years, we're talking about thousands of years. It is just amazing as to how we look at centuries with our relationships with clear kind of names for them. And if you look at any relationship, it has got a special name. It's not just uncle and auntie. If it is chitti, means your mother's sister. If it's your father's sister, it's called attai. So there is a different name for every single relationship, because Tamilians believed in the power of relationships and power of, of people. If you look at Tamil's contribution to English literature, you must have heard all these words. Kattumaram, yes, kattumaran, kasu, cash. Surutu is kind of smoke, charut. Curry, when they say marakari, curry. Milugutanir or rasam, we call it, or melugutani soup. Arisi, it's called as rice. Kopra, the cover of the coconut, kopra. Kanji is kunji, katil, kot. Anikkat is a dam, isn't it? Anikkat. Koyer, kairu, we call it kairu. Teak, the teak wood, teak, we call them, so it's called teak. Murungai, the moringa is very famous, moringa, murungai. So this is our Tamil contribution to English as well. This talk will not end if I do not kind of include the Madrasa Bhasha or Bhasha Madrasi. How many of you have heard these words, Madras Bhasha? Come on, let's have some kind of a chat ongoing to say, can you say what this means? Can anybody say what this means? Jalsa? Jalsa Pannangada. Have you heard that song? Gande?
Gande.
Gande. Galata. Re Galata. Gette. Go on, come and tell me. What does it mean? Mersal. Samma figure solona. Soka kid. Have you heard this song? Jambajar jug, Saida pet mug, Vava diare utanda ni varakatina udamate. Have you heard that song? Manorama song? Again, it's Bada Madrashi as well. Nikkare. Nikkare means knickers actually. Bada bechara ke the badal se. Re maja pan raya hai. Maja means happiness. Dubakur. Dubakur. What does Dubakur mean? Apitu. Come on, guys. Do drop in the chat box if you know what it means. Attu, they say attu figure. What does it mean? Poda bemani, they will say, no? Poda bemani. Re gabbo, they'll say. Kalija irukku. Ekasmalon, they call ekasmalon. OC. You must know OC means. Hey, the OC la vanduchupa. OC, this came by OC. Do we have any takers for any of these words? Come on, guys. At least for Jalsa, you should have. Jalsa, Pannangada. Come on. Any takers?
Gabbu, semma stink.
Stink. Gabbu, stink. Great. Anything else? No?
Gettu, nee ipa getta pesra Tamil.
Gettu. Fantastic. Gettu. Is nobody wanting to come on the chat?
I know. Come on.
Come on, guys. It's like too much mersal. Rupa sokagide. Okay. Okay, I think it's too much late at night and people are tired actually, maybe. What I'll do is I'll put it up for you as to what it means. So Jalsa means having fun. Gandu means anger. Galata is commotion. Gette is a swagger, you know, Gette. Mersal is fear. Actually, Mersal, there was a beautiful song on Mersal as well. Samma means superb. Soka Gida means looking really sharp. Nikrivitu is very easy Nikra. Bejara means displeased, extremely displeased. Maja is enthusiasm. Dubakur is a fraudster, you can't believe. Apita is a bait, giving up. Atta is worst. Bemani is dishonest person. Gabu is stink, like Rupa said. Galiji is yucky. Kasmalam is dirty fellow. OC is on company service. It's free on company accounts. Yeah. So I want to share with you. I'm not sure if you've seen this Tamari song. I'm hoping this will play. I really hope it plays. I'll just give me a second, so if I'll see if it'll play. Have you seen this Tamari song? It's a beautiful song by, let me see if it'll play. It's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful song. I want you to see this. It's only 2 minutes.